weather this period. Anyway, it's expected. And I also have my colleagues joining this morning in Abuja studio. Right, and also in Lagos, Nigeria, I have Patricia Gabriels. Good morning, Pat. How are you?
Good morning, Anu. I'm good. And to Harry, good morning. How's Benin this morning?
You know, Benin is cold and peaceful. I'm sure you're also experiencing the rainy season at your end.
Yes, Lagos is very cold too.
All right. Well, during the course of the show, we'll have Abuja Studio join us on the program. Now, let's talk about something that is actually shaping the national discourse online and offline. It's barely 9 days to the Osun governorship elections, and we have been seeing different dynamics shaping that election, from electoral violence to the governor of Osun State, Ademola Adeleke, accusing police personnel of arresting members of his party, and to other interesting conversation. Now, just yesterday, we saw in the news the governor of Osun State accusing the EFCC of taking after suspicious movement of public funds amid an ongoing investigation into alleged financial misconduct involving about 11 billion naira. The Anti-Graft Agency disclosed this yesterday, hours after the Osun State government accused it of targeting the state ahead of the August 15th governorship election, and alleged that the commission planned to cripple government activities by freezing its account. Let's have a background story to this. It was earlier reported that Osun State government account domiciled with First Bank and reportedly used for official financial transactions, including salary payments, and being placed on post-no-debit status by the EFCC. The restriction came shortly after Governor Ademola Adeleke the commission was planning to freeze the account of the state government and officials of his administrations. About EFCC stance on this, I want to start with you, Harry. What do you think is going on? It's barely 9 days, right? Yesterday it was barely 10 days. Now it's barely 9 days to the election, and we're seeing this happen. There are those who are saying, is there no political undertone to this? Well, EFCC is coming out to say there is no political undertone to this. In fact, the investigation started I think a year ago actually, and then they've been on this case. All they are just doing is have investigation as to whether or not the government of Osun State and that particular account has been involved in, you know, gross misconduct financially. I'm looking for the right word right now. When I get it, I'll, put it out to you. But I'd love to get your response. Yeah. Yes, financial misappropriation and all of that. So what do you think is playing out here?
Clear case of power play, power tussle. This is some all too familiar phenomenon. We've seen this play out, in recent times, even in times past. Okay, we've seen cases where the election is coming up, and of course, the powers that be begin to, should I say, engage in some sort of tussle. And this is basically what we're seeing here. All right, we all know that Ademola Adeleke is not in the ruling party, right? And we know what that means. He's set against the big wigs in Abuja.
Now, here is the twist. Despite the fact that he's not in the ruling party, he moved from, I think, the PDP to Accord Party, right? He publicly endorsed President Tinubu for a second term. Well, and he kept on saying that, President Tinubu, I've endorsed you for a second term. Why are we still going through all of this brouhaha in my state?
That tells you that endorsing President Tinubu is not enough, okay? That's just like a step, amongst many other steps that needs to be taken. And one, for me, if you are not, you remember what a former APC chairman once said, that the moment you cross carpet to the APC, all your sins are forgiven. So I think that's the ultimate move to make, and that move is yet to be made. And as far as I'm concerned, as long as he is in a different party, he is going to be treated like a foe by the ruling party. So what's playing out right now is pretty much what we're already used to: power tussle. He is considered to be a threat to the ruling party and the powers that be. And as long as they see him as a threat, they're going to oppose his re-election in Osun State.
Okay, well, it might actually interest you to know that the government of Osun State has headed to court already to counter this particular order. And one major striking thing is the fact that EFCC did not get a court order, right? A court order to, do this. But then again, it has the power to do this because according to Section 34 of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission EFCC Act 2004, it gives the commission the power to issue freezing orders.
Is Adeleke. He will still pay salaries. He will still do things. You know what that means? He is Adeleke.
Okay, well, whatever that means, honestly, we'll definitely find out. Yesterday, speaking about laughing or entertainment, we saw his family member there, Davido, supporting the move. And we saw that play out during the course of the election that brought him into government. Now, Harry, what are the implications of this? Because Patricia talked about the timing, and I actually raised it up earlier. Yeah. Political season, anything you do right now could either make or mar you. Whatever you do from government, a lot of persons will want to tie it up with the forthcoming election. Now, this is happening in a government where we've been accused of having different, statements being put out there. Just last week, the governor, actually the president did say that everything is all fair and good. There is nothing going on with regards to fights against opposition parties in Nigeria, and now we're seeing this play out. And also, this is not the first time this thing is happening. During the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari, Benue State Governor, the then Benue State Governor, Otom, had his own fair share. Right, we saw the similar thing happen in Rivers State with what's his name now, the governor of Rivers State, also Sim Fubara having his own fair share. So, as regards threats to democracy, are we really practicing the real democracy in Nigeria? That's also another conversation.
Well, it's no news. As a matter of fact, I'm sure that the average Nigerian knows by now that this is not a democracy. But of course, on paper, we call it a democracy. It's pretty obvious that, there is such a thing as the elite in this country. And there are levels to everything. The governor of Osun State is the governor of a state. And then there is President Bola Tinubu, who happens to be, the president of the entire country. Now, it tells you that there is a level, there is an extent to which the governor of Osun State can act. There is a limit to his powers. And as a matter of fact, you made mention of the court order. Right. Well, we actually do hope that that amounts to something because we know how compromised the judiciary has become lately. But we hope, let's not be pessimistic about it. But you see, this is something that, like I said, we're already used to. The election is very close, and anything that they have to do to prevent him from being re-elected. Like I said, you rightly made mention of the fact that he has endorsed President Bola Tinubu, but that's not enough. As a matter of fact, if you haven't taken the bold step of joining the APC, you're still considered, an opposition and a hindrance. So for me, this is just...
And Nigerians will see it as witch hunting, and so it's not going to be a negative impact for Adeleke. I think it's going to come out positive.
Okay, well, fingers crossed. Let's see how that goes. Remember, he's also the dancing governor, and I'm sure a lot of Nigerians actually love him for that, particular character, from to put it that way, that he has.
His affiliation with the big Davido.
Right, that's also another big one. The 30 BG
Exactly,
gang.
I was going to say that. With
Absolutely.
With Davido, I mean, of course, Nigerians love Davido. The youth of Nigerians love Davido, and
okay, could there be a political undertone to this? Why now?
Why now?
Again, I ask, why now?
Well, in my usual fashion of being optimistic, I would rather not focus on the timing. I'd rather just, celebrate the military. On the salary increase. And as a matter of fact, I think we talked about this
last week, Thursday. Yes,
and it's a good thing that they finally put action or matched actions with words, because we've come to a point where we really need to start doing beyond just talking, because we do a lot of talking and analyze a lot, and at the end of the day, it seems like none of the things we talk about ever come to fruition. But it's a good thing. This is a step in the right direction, okay? And I hope that it's not just propaganda at the end.
APC Muslim ticket. Like we know, the adoption of the Muslim ticket in Nigeria politics has been the subject of debate and is linked to questions of religious representation and regional balance and electoral strategy. So the APC adopted the Muslim ticket again. So we're going to be taking a look at it and see how it goes.
We're looking forward to that particular conversation, especially considering the fact that we're now in the political season right here in Nigeria. Now, back here in Edo State, we are going to turn our attention over to something even more, serious as regards electricity. A couple of days ago, we heard the federal government, the Minister of Power, Joseph Tebe, coming out to say that, come 2027, we're going to remove electricity tariff in Nigeria. And he also made mention of the fact that there is no removal of electricity tariff currently in the country. Now, okay, so I did say tariff. We're going to remove electricity subsidy, actually. That's what he said. And there is no removal of electricity tariff at this point. Now, I'm sure a lot of Nigerians had no clue whether or not the federal government has been paying subsidies regarding the electricity sector in the country. We'll look at that and a whole lot more today on the show, and we'll have guests to do justice to this conversation. We'll quickly take a short break. When we return, we'll move over to front dailies of the newspapers.
The land of Onwa is inhabited by the people with common ancestry, language, religion, economic and socio-political ties. However, irrespective of their subtitle differences in language and culture, they share common traditions. The people are known for their hospitality. Onwa traced their origin to Benin Kingdom. As a result, for a man to find a comfortable place for living, the name Onwa was derived from the largest and longest river in the area, which is known as Onwian or Onwa. It means one who makes merry in affluence.
Thank you very much for joining us on the program, Healthy Living. What is the kidney?
The kidney is an excretory organ in the body, which is for metabolism.
Tuberculosis affects many organs in the body, but the common ones it usually affects is the lungs.
Epilepsy is a neurological problem.
Okay.
It is an injury in the brain, which causes someone to begin to convulse, to go into fits.
It is curable, but the cure is a long-term thing.
If you eat well and avoid those risk factors that will make your immunity to be down, then the risk of contracting tuberculosis will be reduced.
If you're healthy, then you're wealthy.
Welcome back. Well, you're still on to This Morning on ITV. We now turn our attention over to the national dailies for this morning, and we kickstart with The Guardian. newspaper, leading with the trending issue, Osun 2026. Adeleke, APC beaker over fraud, vote buying plots, intimidation. We've talked about this a lot during the course of the opening. Well, on page 6, you get details of this story still. Of 308 kidnapped victims, 6 enhanced security on page 2. Renewed part with faith leaders as Obi Kwankwasil back on page 6. By 185% in HI, that's the first quarter, as revenue hits 5 trillion naira. In business news, you get details of the story. Protest in Abuja, Lagos against hardship and security on page 3. Pension NILDSDG for participation in primary on page 31. Of the garden pictures there. Executive Officer of Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, to his office on potential investment opportunities and strategic partnership. Well, details on this on page 2 of the newspaper today. And also, Mr. Bioju Oyebanji with Miss Adeolu Damilola, St. Lawrence Metropolitan College, International African Spelling Bee competitions and gold medalist. Well, it's a good thing we're getting to appreciate people with brains in the country. That's how it should be. Congratulations to her. At the end of the day, they get to say that women girls will always rule the world. I know Harry would want to respond to this, but I won't let you do that right now.
Lip sealed.
Away from that, the federal government orders measures to protect health workers nationwide on page 3. The refinery cut petrol ex-depot price by 50 naira, diesel by 8 naira on page 4. And finally, on the Guardian this morning, back on Makende's criticism of Tinubu's economic reforms. That's all the Guardian have for us today.
All right, next on our radar is the New Telegraph, and the New Telegraph is leading with this screamer that says, Presidency knows Catholic bishops mirrored current realities. And that's credited to Sage. Okay, I think there's a bit of a problem with the
right there.
Yeah.
It says, par that be, no, a lot has gone wrong. Acknowledges Tinubu's right to seek reform. Federal government to consider CBCN as partner in nation building. APC President aides to fast. Okay, pray, ask for forgiveness. Sustainable reforms responsible for strong corporate performance. That's coming. Okay, now we'll quickly take a short break. When we return, we'll move over to more papers for you.
Some days, there comes the Ugemobo Festival, which the Oba celebrates outside the palace gate. A pavilion is built of red cloth where rites are performed to drive away all evil spirits still unsatisfied by the year's sacrifices. The Emobo Festival is to commemorate an event in Benin history which dates back to 1504 AD.
Many thanks for rejoining us. You're still on our newspaper review segment, and we're taking a look at the New Telegraph newspaper. Well, it's leading with this headline that says, Presidency knows Catholic bishops mirrored current realities, and that's credited to Saga. You can find that on page 3 and 6 of the New Telegraph newspaper. Now, let's look a bit above the masthead. FG promises to pay outstanding wage award before mid-August, and that's on page 2 of the New Telegraph. Lagos professors earn less than secondary school principals. Okay, that's coming from ASU, and you can also find that on page 2 of the New Telegraph. School certificate omission doesn't invalidate Tinubu's nomination. That's coming from Ubani. That's on page 6. And Nnamdi Kanu's family alleges medical neglect, calls for NMA others intervention. And you can find that on page 5 of the New Telegraph newspaper. And still on the New Telegraph, Oshun Guba, Adeleke alleges persecution, heads to court as EFCC freezes government's account. That's on page 4, 6, and 7 of the New Telegraph. And Tinubu has stabilized the economy, remains unbeatable in 2027, and that's really laughable. And I think it's actually Kalu that's saying that. Okay, I know that sounds funny, doesn't it?
Of course it does, but you know, the presidency, in fact, the president, he doesn't, I feel like he doesn't want to hear anything. It's a case of you praising yourself. Absolutely. If nobody wants to praise you, because he keeps on reiterating, reiterating the fact that I am doing well for the country, the reforms are working, but we cannot see it visible, you know, in the lives of an average Nigerian.
Absolutely.
That's where the problem
and
is.
Still on the New Telegraph newspaper, Kwara, Niger, 308 kidnapped victims regained freedom. Tinubu commends security operatives. Oh, that's quite cheering news. You can find that on pages 5 and 28 of the New Telegraph newspaper. And right above the paper, you can find something on 22 offshore projects. Says FG targets $50 billion investments from 22 offshore projects. And that's that on the New Telegraph newspaper.
Now, the Daily Trust newspaper is up next, and it's leading with Osun still. It says EFCC freezes Osun account 10 days to election. EFCC freezes Osun account 10 days to election. WAEC records 61% pass rate, withholds 167,486 results. Well, congratulations to the students who did well during WAEC. On page 8, you get details of that story. Now, on Niyeko, presidency to deepen consultations with Catholic bishops, others. And away from that, 176 Kwara abductees regained freedom after 6 months in captivity. Interestingly, on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper, we have pictures there of what went down yesterday. The protest actually that went on yesterday in Lagos, Abuja, over insecurity and hardship. The Take It Back movement with Showore leading the gang. What's going on with Showore? He really doesn't want to chill. The other time he had, I don't know if you saw the video, I think it trended, where he carried Ghana must go and said the president must go. That's what he called that, and that was really hilarious for a lot of persons.
Same thing with the video that I saw yesterday. I think that was quite a similar one, where he was saying Tinubu must go, and then he said revolution is close, and all of that. Well, I really don't know. At this point, I don't know. One would want to ask who's the guy's audacity plug, because he seems to be so bold in challenging the status quo. And
perhaps he has an hidden agenda, because he's always moving from one problem up until another, having several court cases, and he doesn't want to stop.
Absolutely, and there is a thin line between being an activist and being an outlaw. Okay, I think at this point he really needs to watch it. There's absolutely no wrong in challenging the status quo and of course calling the government of the day to order when necessary. But I think it's also important that you mind how you go about it, just so you do not get yourself in serious trouble.
Of course. Well, away from that, we move back to the Daily Trust newspaper. Other interesting headline says federal government orders payment of outstanding wage award to civil servants. On page 36, you get details of that story. 4 passengers burned to death in Abuja-Lokoja road crash. Quite a sad one on the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. And finally, on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper, it says how 3 brothers Garden Plateau village were killed. Harry.
Okay, let's see what the Nation newspaper has to say this morning. Well, it's leading with this headline that says troops DSS free 308 in biggest rescue operation. Okay, Tinubu hails intelligence-driven action that brought back Kwara Niger victims. All right, right above that, Adeleke kicks as EFCC explains Osun State account freeze. You can find that on page 27 of the Nation newspaper. And above that one, consultation with religious bodies to go on, and that's credited to the SGF. Okay, no plan for one-party state. We hope so. From welfare to war fighting. Tinubu rebuilding armed forces. Okay, federal workers to get wage awards, others before end of month. You can find those 2 on pages 2 and 6 respectively. And still on the Nation newspaper, consultation with religious bodies to go on. Okay, I think I already took that. And then below the headline, the major headline, reforms behind quoted companies, big profits. And I think that's all on the Nation newspaper.
Okay, well, because of the time frame, we have to leave it here. It's on all of the pages of the newspaper. One major story trending, one major headline is the Osun 2026, 10 days to the election, and we're seeing what is going on between the EFCC versus Osun State government. Anyway, we'll take a short break now. When we return, we'll move over to our first conversation for today. Please stay with us.
The man went out to bring in thugs to come and beat her.
Yeah.
In a situation like that, do you think women would have seen that and still want to speak?
Really, we're talking
That's
about.
what I said.
So
when they bullied her,
Yeah.
now, if she's not bold enough, she will shut up.
What is your advice for girls out there that are so desperate to be married?
We women, we have to be really intentional about our parenting.
If you know a child is being abused, or you see signs, a bruise or a child, it has to be investigated.
People barely even breathe when they are going for a shrebi and something. You have to be
They
smart.
can't sit
If
down.
you see when they are dressing them up or dragging on both sides, you cannot breathe. And these women will stay in those events for hours just to keep up with that beauty trend.
Is that healthy?
That's not healthy.
I am Patricia Uremu Gabriels, and we're reaching you live from our Lagos Network studio. Of course, Women in Conversation is a program designed for women to discuss about themselves.
Nigeria's electricity sector is once again at the center of national debates following the federal government announcement of plans to gradually phase out electricity subsidies from next year, 2027, while insisting there is no immediate plan to increase electricity tariffs. Now, according to the Minister of Power, the reforms are aimed at tackling the sector's mounting debt and attracting investment needed to deliver more reliable electricity across the country. So for millions of Nigerians already grappling with high living costs and irregular power supply, the announcement raises important questions. Now, can subsidy removal be implemented without pushing electricity higher? Will improved service delivery come before further reform?
Policies and ideas, none of them was actually implemented. So I think we need to start talking about subsidy is somehow comfortable for the energy market, because as you know, we are just the energy market. The new electricity policy and electricity is not fully implemented. Some state government are still struggling to see how they can set up the Electricity Regulatory Commission so that they can decentralize the power sector in the states. We are still seeing the new market trying to come. We are seeing new state government setting up their own electricity laws and not implemented yet. We are seeing issues where the last MPW in Abuja was between the Commission of Powers and the Commission of Powers in Nigeria and the minister alongside with NEC, the Electricity Regulatory Commission, with other stakeholders, trying to see how they can regulate the state power sector. Then the minister is coming out with that today. For me, I think we should just allow the market to go. We should just allow the new policy and new electricity laws to start working in states, so that by that time the state government now be able to control and decide how the power sector will be more effective for their citizens. But I'm very happy for the state government working with the viable, very active commissioner for power that is doing so well now, trying to decentralize the power sector. I know the new Electricity Regulatory Commission in Edo State also is trying to set up, led by my very good for Chitu. And I hope to see a new market in Edo generally and across other states. So we are working with some states. Currently, we are working about the state government currently, trying to see how we can proper decentralization and implementation of all their policies and their new laws. Then there's no way that the new subsidy strategy the new minister wants to put on board. There's no way they not affect the common man industry. Then we're going to affect everybody, because states are not well formed with the new law, so definitely going to trigger a lot of reactions and a lot of costs going to be pushed back to the average Nigerian state. So, but what I can say is that let's allow the market to form. We should not bring new policies and new ideology. I know the cost of the debt. The debt is very high at the moment. I know that it's not from the federal government. I believe that there could be a little space for development and new form electricity laws to start working in those states before a new idea of something. So I think that's what to look at. But we are still going to talk to the minister.
Right.
And, see how we can put that
Of course, Honorable Enharo. Okay, thank you so much for the interesting submission. But we would love to bring on board Professor Sylvester Odio.
The government should be talking about their own independent power, because if you look at the energy environment, what is happening is democratization, of the energy sector. There are so many, energy sources that can be used to generate electricity. People are building solar farms and the rest of them. So when you are still talking about monopoly of some so-called gencos, it beats my imagination, because the government I think it was the current incumbent government that signed it into law. The decentralization of removal of electricity from the exclusive list, legislative list, to the concurrent list. So the state government, have the legal ambit to then establish, energy sources beyond, the monopoly that exists. And when you talk about subsidy, I'm just asking myself, where is the subsidy coming from? Because subsidy has always been a fluke in the Nigerian environment. Many Nigerians, poor people, they are paying NEPA bills with estimated bills, And so Nigerians are being exploited one way or the other. And if you look at it now, government is going to issue bonds, in the name of paying off the so-called legacy debts. So I can't really place it, at all. For me, this policy is counterproductive. It's like when Nigeria was indebted to the tune of about $2 billion, before Obasanjo came into power. We were not even sure what we were owing, the debtors. We had to hire consultants to verify what we were owing. And at the end of the day, you understand the debt buyback, program that Kojo Iweala helped to implement at that time. Nigeria had to part with about $12 billion. So I see the same thing here. We are indebted to them to the tune of about 6.5 trillion. Government is paying subsidy valued at about 3 trillion, maybe per annum. So the whole place, the whole environment, like the oil sector, is opaque. That is my initial submission here.
That was a very brilliant submission, Professor Sylvester. But I'd like to ask you this. To a lot of Nigerians, this doesn't quite make sense. So imagine that you are addressing the layman on the streets. What do you think this planned removal of subsidy means, in practical terms?
Well, having mentioned the origin of the policy, is coming from the Bretton Woods institution. So it's going to mean more pains for Nigerians. More pains for Nigerians. There is no way, they can isolate Nigeria from the pains that will come from there. You say you are going to remove the subsidy gradually, and there will be no hike. And that is called market repression in economics. So market forces are no longer determining the prices of goods and services. So no hike. That's market repression. It doesn't work well in economics.
Okay. Now let's move back to Honorable Enahoro. For a lot of Nigerians, the question and the fear is what really this would mean, with household, for businesses, for investors in Nigeria come 2027. Now, hopefully that's if this sees the light of the day, because several times we've seen different policies, and when the federal government pushed them to the public, we have an outcry and it's pushed off. So let's hope this tells the same line. But then again, if it doesn't, what really would be the implication of this? Does this mean moving forward in Nigeria we're going to be paying more for electricity? Does this mean that electricity bills will triple come 2027?
Yes, very well. Just want to add to the professor. Actually, the federal government has their own balances that are not state members. They actually own. So one thing that was was generating power from the state of the state infrastructure. That is why you keep on going the grid is collapsing, the grid is collapsing. These guys are actually generating power. Like I told you, they are generating power. They are generating power. But the state government are not actually putting more effort to see how they can sustain power they are generated. I'll give a very good example. I went to the substation in Oklahoma. We're still having close to about megawatts that was increased by the big players. And the big players are telling us we can't take that far because we don't have a system of collection. So as Paul said, there are so many things we are supposed to put ahead before putting a new policy into the system. Number one, allow the market, the new market to do, which is now the concurrent list. Government need to now create their own energy market. They need to generate more power, build their new infrastructure, bring in investors. Then implementation of the mass unity program. I started that program in Nigeria. Mass unity program. I distributed almost about 113 tests, all right, across a day. To make sure that everybody admits that we can cut off the estimated daily season. So implementation of that. And their mode of collection is to go back to the Adamic taste of the electricity market. So now, if we go to affect Nigeria, yes, just going to affect us drastically, but my policy and my idea to the minister in our last meeting is that we need to slow down. Let's see how the new market will become. Let's see how the state government will do their generation and implementation. Both on state government are very slow. They are very slow, and the more time we waste implementing this electricity law, the more debt we incur as a country. So we better do the subsidy in the time when the implementation of those state policies are working very well. Spread all back to Nigeria. And they are even talking about 115 billion worth of lithium batteries in Nigeria. And Nigeria has the best lead oil and the best lithium across Africa. Why can't we now focus on sustainability?
Okay, however, Enahoro. Right, I hear you loud and clear.
Without that, definitely there is to the current need we are having in Nigeria. The subsidy will protect Nigeria. We definitely want to receive that subsidy, whether you like it or not. So Nigeria should be set, like to be prepared for it. But while we are trying to control government which actions they are putting up, bringing new generating companies that will support what we have already.
Okay, thank you. Now let me move quickly. Right, thank you so much. Let me move quickly back to Professor Ojo. A lot of things have been said thus far. Before we talk about how Nigerians can be prepared, moving forward, the federal government reacting to some of the major concerns by a lot of Nigerians, saying removing, removing electricity subsidy doesn't necessarily mean higher bill pays for electricity, right? Don't you think that's conflicting the whole ideology or plan or game behind removal of electricity subsidy come 2027? And then again, another question would be, for a lot of Nigerians, it's not a case of having to pay humongous amount of money for electricity bills in Nigeria. It's even worse when you charge a customer for, electricity bill, right? You get to pay high and you don't even get the service. So how can we go through all of that? Shouldn't the federal government pay more attention to a service delivery that is better off for a lot of Nigerians as regards the removal of the subsidy?
Well, the audio quality from your side is poor, but if I get you rightly, I'm not quite sure how Nigerians, can cope with the burden, existential burden that they carry. Even so-called middle class, if there is anybody called any set of class called middle class now, you spend all your salary on buying, fuel to fuel your car, and there's nothing left at the end of the month, So you're not talking about utilities. As you rightly observe, these services are not being delivered. They are epileptic in the first place. Epileptic in the first place. So at the end of the day, Nigerians, are giving the short end of the stick, as they say. So I think that the real way out of the problem, if you ask me, is that there has been an attempt, by policymakers in Nigeria, based on the clarion call that Nigeria needs to be refederalized. And so powers are being devolved from the exclusive list into the concurrent list, just like the police bill that is currently ongoing. So what are the state government doing, to take opportunity of this autonomy of space in terms of, the arena of power, So can state government, build sustainable electricity supply? I'm happy my brother is there, the former commissioner, So the real task is that we must be dedicated to service to our people. And like I said, energy all over the world is being democratized. You have experts. Geometrics in Aba was built by my friend, Professor Batunaj, single-handedly. So the skill is there, the manpower is there, to be able to do some of these things. There are so many sources of power supply. I mean, what is trending currently is solar. There are some individual farms in Nigeria that have solar farms. If you go to AIT in Abuja, huge solar farms, that services the entire establishment. So why can't state government, do these things to ameliorate, to give service to their people and ameliorate the pains, of having to eke a living in Nigeria. So that's the way I see it. Because no matter how you romanticize about the whole idea, it is about putting more pains on Nigerians. Government can do things that are practical beyond the prescription of the Bretton Woods institution. Once you box yourself into a corner, I mean, we have reviewed these things as scholars, over and over again. There was even a book written, 50 years is enough. Of these policies, they have never worked. Because the international arena is a global, we call it global jungle. It's the survival of the fittest. If you think that some agencies will mainstream policies that will allow you to attain independence, you are wasting your time. We must learn, to exploit the autonomous space that exists in that global jungle, to get freedom for our people in terms of services and all that we can do for them to make life livable.
Okay, Prof. You've really highlighted most of the things, and also Honorable Ihanour has said so many things as regards this particular policy, and we really have to leave the conversation here. But then again, it's a part of the federal government to do what's best for Nigerians, for the citizenry, moving forward come 2027. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being part of the show today.
Thank you.
Right. Now, we'll take a short break on the show. When we return, we'll turn our attention over to Osun 2026, 10 days to go. And we're hearing and seeing the brouhaha between EFCC and Osun state government. All of this and more after this break.
Onwa is rich in culture and traditions. The people are a mixture of traditional worshippers, Muslims and Christians. Onwa is located at the northern part of Edo State. It consists of two local government areas, that is Onwa West and Onwa East. It has a total number of 13 clans and 21 political wards, according to National Population Commission 2006 census. The population of Onwa people is put together at 251,686. The people love tradition and culture. Historically, the people ancestors in deep quest to hand down on their future children a society of love and friendship.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. If you're just joining, you're on to This Morning on ITV. Now, Osun 2026. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has confirmed freezing an Osun State government bank account, saying the action was taken after suspicious movement of public funds amid an ongoing investigation into alleged financial misconduct involving about 11 billion naira. The anti-graft agency disclosed this yesterday, hours after the Osun State government accused it of targeting the state ahead of the August 15th governorship election, and alleged that the commission planned to cripple government activities by freezing its account. A background story to this would be earlier reports that the Osun State government account domiciled with First Bank and reportedly used for official financial transactions, including salary payments, had been placed on post-no debit status by the EFCC. Okay, so the restriction came shortly after Governor Ademola Adeleke alleged that the commission was planning to freeze the accounts of the state government and top officials of his administration. Now, joining me in the studio this morning is a constitutional lawyer, St. Michael Igwe-Oye. Thank you so much. Welcome on board. So let's get the legal backing to all of this. Does the EFCC have the right to freeze an account of the state government?
Not at all. Nigeria, as constituted, is a federal system. We operate federalism in Nigeria. And what the federal government has done, or the EFCC, through the EFCC, runs foul or runs contrary to the spirit and tenets of federalism. Osun State is a sub-national government that has the independence, to administer its territory as it thinks fit. However, if there are any form of financial malfeasance, mismanagement of the Commonwealth of Osun people, it is Osun people that have the right and the power, to question such through Osun State House of Assembly. It is, quite abnormal, quite funny. It is quite awkward, to find the EFCC crying foul or crying wolf where there is no wolf. There are several authorities, to that effect, where the apex court has decided that the federal government does not have the power under the 1999 Constitution as amended, to stifle any state's office, resources or wealth. However, what is playing out at the moment is quite obvious, to those who are politically intelligent or politically savvy.
Okay. Before we go to the political undertone to this and the timing, according to the EFCC Act 2004, Section 34 of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC Act 2004, it gives the commission the power to issue freezing orders to banks. It states that the EFCC chairman or an authorized officer must apply to a court experte to freeze a bank account if they have reasons to believe the funds are proceeds of financial crime.
The law you just read now is inferior, to the Constitution. It's also inferior, to several pronouncements of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has heard on several occasions, including the case of the most celebrated case of federal government versus Attorney General of Lagos State, and several others, where the court has heard that the federal government does not have the power under our Constitution, to deny the state access to its commonwealth. The provisions you just read applies to, accounts perhaps owned by individuals, whether real or artificial, which are used, as conduit pipe, to siphon, money or to defraud, persons of their hard-earned resources. It is doubtful whether it applies to the accounts, owned or operated by a subnational government.
Well, saying that it's doubtful actually suggests that it's really not set in stone. Like it's not clear. It's not clearly stated whether it's actually referring to individuals or state governments. So which one is it? Because when it comes to matters of this nature, we have to know exactly what we are dealing with, right? The Osun State governor pretty much understands what exactly is playing out, from the observation of the average Nigerian. But do you think this is some sort of witch hunt? I know you were actually going there much earlier, but is it clear whether this particular provisions that she just read out refer to individual accounts or state accounts?
My brother, you don't need to be a legal practitioner or have a big head in law for you to understand the operations of federalism. Okay. What is federalism? Federalism simply means that you have two systems of power being shared, between different units, different components, whether the federal or the sub-national, and they are independent of one another. Osun State is a subnational government that is independent of the state. Just as Osun State does not have the power, to deny the federal government access, to finance, so also the state does not have the power to deny any of the 36 states, so making up the Nigeria Federation assets, and you have the local governments. Now, of these three tiers, the weakest in the link, all this while, has been the local government. There have been attempts by this administration, to straighten that tier of government so that they live up, to their ability, to the true meaning of their existence as conferred on them by the Constitution. So the state government, is properly constituted to run its affairs without unnecessary interference, from the federal government. What is playing out now amounts to unnecessary interference, especially that it is taking place 10 days to an election.
Right, let's talk about that. The timing.
Can't you see the handwriting on the wall?
Of course, absolutely. I mean, it's glaring for everyone to see, right? The timing of this is another major conversation we should have. Just as you said, 10 days to the Osun governorship election, we are seeing this play out. Is it a case of political undertone beneath all of the thing that is going on, or the EFCC having their investigation? Of course, the EFCC has come out to say we are not playing any political hanky-panky in all of this. We're just doing our job. And this didn't just start today. It started a year ago. What's your take on this?
The intention of EFCC is as clear as the biblical mene mene teke teke yufasi.
What does that even mean?
It is clear for even the blind to see. They are, playing or interpreting scripts written, by some political heavyweights,
but they've come out
within the ruling party.
They've come out to deny any form of, involvement with the federal government.
You see, I was discussing. I had a private discussion with a friend of mine a few days ago, and we were discussing Osun politics, and both of us agreed that wherever the federal might tits towards, that is the bloc, that is the political entity that's going to win the election. But the question is, where is the federal might going to tit towards? It was difficult, to see. However, if you look at the activities leading to this period, you will know that the present governor worked with, some, political, components, entities within Osun State to work against the interests of the present president. to secure his defeat in the presidential election of 2023. And if you know the antecedents of the old Pussycats, you will know that he does not forgive. He has no forgiveness in his dictionary. So I knew that he was going to be coming, for the governor. However, because of the old alliance between the old Pussycats and the Adeleke family, we thought that, there would be some form of, pacification, resolution, and reconciliation.
Right.
Especially when attempts were made by Johnson Adeleke, to defect, from PDP, to APC. I thought that, there was some form of, reconciliation. Until when this freezing took place, I knew that the old Pussycats was at it again. He never forgave him.
Well, we've seen Governor Adeleke come out publicly to endorse the so-called old Pussycat, right?
Yeah, what do you expect him to? What do you expect him to do?
One would have thought that with that endorsement, with that public, endorsement, all of this wouldn't be playing out.
Well, if you are conversant with the book, The Prince, who's the author of the Prince? Niccolo Machiavelli. There is one thing that the Prince does. It is the total elimination of anything that stands between the Prince and his political objective and goal. Because if you do not do that, you stand a chance of being toppled.
All right, because of the time.
This is about power politics.
Right, because we have a few more minutes to go, a few seconds to go. I'd just love to get your take regarding the implications of all of this. As regards the election come August 15, 2026, what are the implications?
Which of the elections are you talking about now? Is it
the governorship election?
The governorship election?
Yes.
It has been decided.
Well, it hasn't even been held.
Somebody has won already.
Who?
With what is playing out.
Who has won?
APC has won.
Well, you really cannot say that.
What is today's date? What is today's date?
Today is 7th? No, 6th. Today's 6th.
Today
yes.
is 6th.
Right.
You are going to invite me here again as political Nostradamus.
Where's this certainty?
I will come here
confidence coming
as a person who is being invited, to come and speak to the public on the basis of being vindicated.
Okay.
That I actually saw it coming.
Okay.
That election we hold in Osun State, and APC will use their federal might to muscle out all political opponents.
Even when the president has said all this thing in the country.
The essence of what is going on at the moment is to stifle the opponents of funds so that they don't have money to buy votes.
St. Michael, we really need to go now, but it's an unending conversation. St. Michael, constitutional lawyer, thank you so much indeed for your time today on the show.
It's my pleasure.
Well, we'll take a short break. When we return, we'll move over to Abuja studio for more on the show.
ITV, certainly the best.
In a rare display of botanical
The streets of Kaduna, Benue, and other states that have been bedeviled with insecurity are still bleeding. People are being killed by the day. There is banditry, there is terrorism, all sorts of insecurity happening in various parts of the country, especially in the northwest and the north central. And the conversation for the establishment of state police is still on the table. While some people are fully in support of the creation of the state police for the fact that it's going to mean creation of more jobs and also proximity when it comes to in terms of response to security situation. There are those who are of the school of thought that state governments are going to hijack state police to become their own, and they will begin to use it against their opponents. My name is Charity Tanko, and this is the Abuja Network Studio, coming live with the TMI from Abuja Network Studio. This morning we're going to be discussing the matters arising concerning state police. It is an ongoing conversation, and joining me via a phone call is Mr. Ben Kunloye. He is a political analyst, public affairs analyst, who we're going to be dissecting this topic together. Looking at, hello, good morning. Good morning, sir. Hello, good morning. Go back. We are having network issues, and well, like I was saying earlier on the National Assembly, okay. Hello, good morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning.
Can you hear me clearly?
Good morning, I can hear you. Yes.
Sir?
I can hear you.
Okay, good morning, sir. So we are still talking about state police. We know that there has been, the president has given the go-ahead for states to create their own, to establish their own policing, and the conversation is still ongoing, with some people in full support while some people are still skeptical of the outcome of what it will bring should that happen. Now, my question to you now will be, what is your take so far on the various conversation going on the creation of, on the proposed creation of state police? Hello?
I didn't get the question. Can you repeat the question?
So just hold on right there. We'll take a short break. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back.
Brilliance. The palm tree defied natural norms, sprouting multiple branches that bear fruits. This rare occurrence has become a wonder to many, as experts are calling it a one-in-a-million phenomenon. Could this multiple-headed marvel hold secret to agricultural breakthroughs, or is it simply a freak accident of nature? An agronomist with Nigeria Institute for Oil Palm Research, NIFOR Benin. The strange palm tree also raises issues of a blend of science with human interest and cultural significance for maximum impact.
Thank you. With our guest via the telephone, he's still online. So, Mr. Ben, my question to you was, what is your take on the various conversations going on the proposed establishment of state police?
I think it's a very welcome development. No doubt about that. Now, it is okay that we're at this moment talking about the policies that will surround it. We're talking about enacting the law itself. Now, that is all that can happen between now and December. No state will be able to put up a state police before the next general election. So those who are skeptical about it affecting the general election, I really think they do not understand what policing is all about. Because you need the law first. When the constitution is amended, the policy is put in place to ensure that there is a minimum standard that no state can go below. You can go above it, but there is a minimum standard for personnel, a minimum standard for recruitment, a minimum standard for training, a minimum standard for remuneration. When that is set in place, then those states that are ready can take off. Recruitment will take anything between 2 weeks to 3 months. Training will take about 6 months. So if you even consider training alone, if any state is to get into recruiting immediately now, that the law has not even been passed, there is no way the next election will not be over before those policemen are ready to be deployed. So I think that those who are worried about the next election should not allow their ignorance about the police system to affect the policies and the laws and the work that are ongoing. So right now, I think we are on a good pace. We have a committee that is consulted and set up by the president, headed by his chief of the National Assembly have done their bit. We will not even get the state assemblies. Minimum of 24 of them must pass the law before it can become operational. So I still think that we are far from having the state police in place. But in terms of processes and build-up going towards it, I think that we are doing very, very well. And I think that the skeptics should actually wait and look for where they are supposed to participate in formulating the policy to put in their word. There will still be public hearing. There are still opportunities for groups to contribute. There are still opportunities for input. And I think that everybody should hear.
The stage of public hearing at the National Assembly. The National Assembly has concluded. What is left is for the National Assembly to harmonize between the Senate and the House of Representatives, and then
but in the state assembly, the state assembly should have to concur. There is a committee led by Gwadabia Miller that will eventually still be meeting, and that will be so. There is the constitution by amendment. There is the policy formulation. So people are still able to have their input in the policy formulation, because that committee will still be holding public hearings, will still be doing stakeholders engagement. So I think that the law is far, or the process is far from being over. There are still a lot of gaps and opportunity for people to engage, and everybody who can engage should look for that opportunity right now, rather than sit on the fence and reject the process.
Okay, there's the issue of funding. Currently, we have states where the governors cannot even pay the current minimum wage. So what is the guarantee that when the state police is established across all states of the Federation, there will be salaries to be paid?
Well, the clarity is that the secondary schools are managed by the state.
Because that also is another argument being put.
No, secondary schools at the moment are managed by state government. And I'm sure that the secondary school in the different states do not have the same number, do not have the same level of staff, do not have the same number of unity schools and the rest of that. Now, the law did not say every state must take off immediately. The state that is ready will take off. The state that is not ready will wait until they are ready. But the idea is that don't hinder states like Lagos, like Rivers, like Kano who may be ready. The law should be in place to permit them to do what they have the capacity to do. Why those states that are not ready can take their time to be ready. So I don't think, because now I always say this, I think it's from Winston Churchill. He said, you don't weaken the strong to strengthen the weak. No, you allow the strong to remain strong while you are encouraging the weak to become strong. And I think that is where we are. Allow the policy, allow the laws, allow the constitution, so that those who are set to moving can move in immediately. Those who are not set can take their time and then get in when they are ready.
Mr. Ben, in your language, you said allow the strong to remain strong and allow the weak to become strong, right? So, looking at that, there are some who have been expressing the fear that shouldn't the federal police be strengthened, repositioned well before Nigeria will begin to think about establishing state police? What do you have to say to that?
Well, nobody is saying we should weaken the federal police. It is that the federal police remains, but allow the state to come in to assist. And that's where the cases are.
Well, they are saying that the federal police itself is not well positioned, that it should be strengthened before we can even think about establishing state police.
I don't think we should continue to strengthen the federal police, no doubt about that. But that should not be an hindrance. Like I would always say, if you need to drink water, you don't have to wait until you sink your own bowl. You can buy pure water, you can buy bottled water depending on your strength. Depending when you get to where you will get pipe-borne water or you are able to sink your borehole. So we should not think because we needed to do more funding of the federal police and stop state police from taking off. No, everything should be work in progress and we should make them all work together.
You know, having a state police means that states who decide to establish the state police, they're going to have the laws, the rules of engagement are not going to be fixed. They are not going to be together across the same across state. That means every state gets to decide what happens at what particular period. Now, let's take for example, should one state decide that let's take the route of shoot at sight when there is a crime, and the other state decide that no, we should negotiate, do you think this will solve the problem of insecurity in Nigeria?
Well, the truth is this: the terrain in the states are different. Now, I would always tell people, we are not a three-tribe nation. We are a nation with over 300 tribes. Different states are almost not exactly the same. So when you allow devolution of power, which is that at least you allow the state to have their own police, it means they can gather their information, they can run their own system, and act and think differently from what is existing in the very next state. Now, that being the case, you would understand that if some of the people are recruited locally, they understand the terrain, they understand the psychology, they understand the people, and so it should be more easier for them to resolve the crimes. Then there are crimes that are interstate, there are crimes that are beyond the state. That will always remain in the purview of the federal police working with the state police. But like we said clearly, people should express their misgiving and let's present it even at those negotiation tables that are still open. The matter of state police is not yet closed, and that is the priority about it. Yes, National Assembly could have debated the framework and their constitutional amendments, which is their own, but the entire framework has not been concluded. Consultations are still ongoing. Forums are still open. Yes, like we said, people have their fears and their worries. They are free to express it, and practically that comes into it. The judiciary in the states have always been there. The state high courts have always run their affairs, and nobody has stopped the state high courts from running. Even though, yes, the governor maybe had issues to do with their budget, the governors eventually nominate who becomes. But there is the Federal Judiciary, the National Judicial Council, that in a way help in ensuring that there is sanity, at least in appointment of people who become judges on the High Court bench in the state, as well as recommending who can be the chief judge. So in a way that the judiciary have run, I'm sure that we can also have a National Police Council or whatever name it will be called that can also help to ensure that whereas the states are independent, whereas the states run on their own, they should also be able to conform with the minimum national standards that has been put in place. And I think that is a given that we should all embrace and work towards. So the naysayers need to look at the grounds of their objections and how it can be answered so that across all parties, everyone can work together and then get a better result.
Well, currently we have regional security outfits. We have the Amotekun in the southwest. We have Aguni Chamber, right, in Anambra, and also we have a couple of others in the north, like the Hisba and the rest. For instance, the one in the northwest, in the southwest, and the southeast have recorded quite a number of successes, but also there are complaints. So, as regards to the establishment of state police, what lessons would you say they should be learned from this regional security outfit in order to make this successful and effective?
Well, the fact that the regional security outfits are there and they are making some impact is to tell you that there are gaps that need to be filled. When the state police comes in, I'm sure that the rules of those outfits can be redefined. For instance, I think Kaduna State recently had moved their vigilante corps, right, to be more trained and then convert them to become the armed forest guards. Now, they were taken from the local area. They understand the forest. Now, some of them were hunters, but now they've been trained formally so that they can now make formal reports. They can do things better. So what we need to know is that, yes, at the time of establishing the regional forces, Amotekun and the rest of them, there was no law that permit the state police. Perhaps if there was a law that permit the state police, maybe some of the states would actually have gone outrightly to have their own state police. But if eventually the law is passed, I'm sure that they will need to streamline what they are presently doing. Those who are fit to join the police will possibly be trained and be brought in. Some of them, of course, like Kaduna has done, will be taken into the forest guard system, and some can then be repurposed. And there are lessons that have been learned from by now, from their logistics control, from a number of other things. And I think that there are lessons that those states that runs Ibubiagu, that runs Aguni Chamber, that runs civilian JTF and stuff like that, whatever lessons they have learned from that now could become useful when their various states begin to set up their own police. And I think it will just be a better situation for everybody at all levels.
As someone who seems to be very optimistic about this state police, and you do realize that this particular bill is part of an ongoing constitutional review. As we speak, the current assembly is almost on its way out because this is pre-election year. By next year, June, there's going to be, at the national level, there's going to be the 11th assembly. And should this not be signed into law by then, that means the journey is going to start all over again. So with this, what would you say to this? Is it going to be a setback for the woman out there or the child out there who is expecting to have security being beefed up in their state?
Well, I think think that with the kind of determination that is ongoing, I do not see the bill or the law failing at this time. Already you have the National Assembly they've done their bit. The government at the federal level is consulting. We expect that the State Assembly will begin to give their concurrence. Now take note that even though election will come January, February, right? Exactly. You still have up till May for the president, for the executive to be sworn in, and it is after swearing in the executive on May 29 that the new assemblies will be inaugurated. So in all, you still have up to 9 months clear for legislative work to be done. And some would also note some activities still goes on, especially in the assembly. For instance, the current NEFON bill, even though they have to return it for amendment, was passed after the 2023 election, not before. But it was passed after the election by the Gbajabiamila-led House of Representatives, and we know that today the NEFON law is functioning and is doing well. So I don't think that the time is short. I think that the time is right. I think that every effort and every hand should be put on deck. And if everyone does his bit, we may have the law coming before election. And maybe the frameworks will then be further amended after the election. But if eventually it fails, I think it will be a very huge setback for the security architecture and for the nation as a whole. Because I believe that a number of states are already excited about the law coming, and it will be to the advantage of the people because it creates more jobs. And once there is more security, you know that there will be more productivity. One of the reasons productivity is low as of today is because people used to travel out of Abuja to go and do farm in Abaji, in Niger. They are no longer doing it because they are afraid of kidnap. They are afraid of a lot of things. But if the security steps up, I can assure you that we are a productive people. Productivity will go up. So whoever loves the nation, whoever looks into the future with hope, will support that. Will support anything, including the state police and system that will improve security in the Nigerian nation.
All right, you said it could be done before the next election with determination, right, and sincerity of purpose. It could be done before the next election. Let's look at it. For instance, assuming this happens before the next election, what stops state governor from monopolizing and using this state police for his own political interest?
No, the governors cannot use state police in the next election. The next election is coming January and February.
Exactly.
Like I said, you need
everything works out, and maybe the federal government finish its consultation, state houses of assembly, everything checks out, and let's say by October or November, and it's signed into law, and state governors say, right, we have to go ahead, let's do this.
That's what I'm saying. The state governors will still need to domesticate the law. You need to go through recruitment process. Training the police takes about 6 months. So for the next election, forget about the state being able to use a state police. That will not happen because for proper indoctrination, police training takes 6 months for constable. The lowest of police training for a new person is 6 months. For inspectors, I think it's more. For cadet superintendents, it's also likely more. Now, take note that some of the states will also need to be establishing their own police colleges. Now, all that possibly is not in this year's budget. So even if you pass the law, but the law becomes a framework to help you budget for next year. But like I in any way be affected or influenced by state police, because we no longer have 6 months. August. We do not have 6 months to train the police for them to take off. The takeoff process will take between 6 months and 2 years in each of the states. The lowest anybody can do will be 6 to 7 months for takeoff. That means those are states that already have places they could use as police college, right? And then that will be free for immediate takeoff. But no state, I guarantee you, under what guise would have the state police ready before the next election. So those who are afraid of next election should keep their mind at rest, because it will not happen. It has to be after, if anybody is setting up anything.
Before I let you go, there are rumors that there are some governors who already begun the training.
Sorry, I didn't get that. Some governors
I said yes. I said don't let me respond to this as a last word. There are rumors that some state governors actually have started recruitment and training.
Well, that will be outside the law, because the law has not been passed. So on what basis do they know the requirement for the recruitment? Like we said, there will be a minimum standard that will be set. So if you start recruitment before training, of course, that will be an illegal organization. But I know that there are recruitments going on for forest guards. So people should not mistake that for state police. Forest guard is going to be a collaboration between the federal government and the state, but it will be resident in the states where there are forests. So that is not state police. It is forest guard.
Thank you.
Number of states are currently recruiting for.
Mr. Ben, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for being on the program.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
Well, it's been a discussion on the proposed creation of state police, which is an ongoing conversation. And our viewers, you've heard his views on it. He is very optimistic that this is going to change the security architecture across Nigeria, should this come to fruition. At this point, Nigerians will just keep their fingers crossed and see how it goes. But hopefully that by the time we have the state police in place, there will be some stability in our security situation in Nigeria. And from my end, this is all we've got from Abuja studio. We'll take a short break, after which we shall be linking up with Lagos Network Studio for the continuation of the program.
Good morning and welcome to the continuation of This Morning on ITV from our Lagos network. I am Patricia Uremu Gabriels. Thank you for joining us this morning. Anyway, this morning we're going to be looking at the APC Muslim ticket. I mean, the president has adopted the Vice President Shettima as his running mate come 2027 elections. The adoption of the Muslim ticket in Nigeria politics has been the subject of debate and is linked to questions of religious representation, regional balance, and electoral strategy. With me in the studio this morning to do justice to this is Mr. Jide Ologun, a lawyer, a PR practitioner, human resource manager, fellow Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, fellow Institute of Leadership Coaching and Strategy Development advocate. Mr. Jide is a whole lot. You're welcome to the program, sir.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you for always finding time to talk about Nigeria.
Thank you.
But anyway, we're going to be looking at the Muslim ticket, but I want us to quickly take our attentions to Osun State. the elections is coming on the 15th of August. And we see what is playing out right now. The Osun State government account has been frozen by EFCC. The account is the first bank account. The governor had actually cried out to say EFCC had frozen their account. And EFCC had come out to say the Osun State government account was frozen over suspicious movement of 11 billion naira in public funds. That's EFCC's explanation. But what's your take on it? Do you think there's a political undertone on this?
Thank you very much. Foundationally, the EFCC was created in 2003 as a response to the accusation of Nigeria being one of the 23 countries that are not supporting the fight against money laundering and financial crime across the globe. And it was a focused assignment given to EFCC. And running down the lane, it appears by perception that EFCC is getting involved in politics. Yes, EFCC has the prerogative to investigate the accounts of the state. I even read that this particular one, they've been investigating since
almost a year now.
March 2025. And whatever you've been investigating, how long does it take to investigate? You could have taken action. And it's so close to the election. And naturally and politically speaking, those who claim that it's a political witch hunt may not be wrong. You see, and the position of the Nigerian Bar Association is that that step may be unconstitutional, because though I don't know whether they got a court order to freeze.
No, the truth is they didn't get the court order.
To freeze the account. So, and I think we should go beyond this. The present government at the federal level went through the same hurdle of changing the Naira, different kinds of obstacles. I think we should come to the point where politicking in Nigeria is on a flat platform. And you allow candidates to go out there and test their popularity. I mean, that is my honest opinion. And it simply shows that we have not departed from the adversarial politicking we play in Nigeria. It's now just a matter of who is on which side, you know. So, and I hope this will not even backfire by people just whipping sentiments for the party that is managing Osun State currently. My advice on the scale of public relations, on the scale of legality, is that this is too close for comfort. It's too close for comfort. And when we will learn to do things in transparent ways, in ways that can be trusted by the people in terms of motives, is a far and long question for me. I don't know when that will be registered in Nigeria.
We've heard Governor Adeleke crying out to the president and saying, I have endorsed you. Yes, I'm not in your party, but I have said you are a candidate in the state. Now, with all of this playing out, do you think the president wants every governor to be on the side of APC? Do you think that's what is playing out right now?
Naturally and politically, the president wants a majority of supporters to queue behind him. And when we talk about, and already there are enough number of governors queuing behind the president, but then if you go back to the tenure of the former president, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, in his tenure, over 30 governors were in PDP. So it's the way of politicians that they go where their political career can be secured. But why some are worried is that with that amplified number of support that the president has in terms of governors who have decamped to APC, then why is the party still troubled and not just allow things to flow? And those are questions on the list of some Nigerians. And let me say this, Section 15, subsection 5 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended states clearly that the state shall abolish corrupt practices and abuse of office. So if indeed the Osun State government is fiddling with public funds, EFCC should investigate, arraign who can be arraigned, even though we know that constitutionally the governor is covered by immunity. There are other stakeholders within the state managing the governance system that are not under immunity. You see, so if we are fighting corruption, let's fight corruption. We want to play politics, create a free and fair environment for politics. And those are my comments for now. Otherwise, we just keep going round and round. And it points to one issue. I mean, the question you asked directly, that the governor of Osun State, Adeleke, has promised the president that he will support the president. The politicians cannot be led with responding to such promises, because it's been disclosed that the president is likely to be from Osun State, and he also wants that state as a political base for him. So for politicians, it's not a matter of promising to support. You can see what is also going on in Oyo State now. Makinde supported the president as part of the G5 towards 2023 elections, but how far? So for that is within the political circle. But I am basically and fundamentally for good governance, and I believe that when we engage the next topic, we can speak more to that.
Okay, but let's quickly conclude with this topic on, we have seen Governor Adeleke going to court. What outcome do you think? What are you expecting from that judgment?
One of two things. The court will stop EFCC from, freezing the account, or endorse the freezing of the accounts. But Adeleke should be busy with his campaigns and mobilizing his supporters to vote for him. And the electorate also should be prepared to monitor and watch their votes. I think the electorate can ask for what is right, demand for it, and stand by it in Nigeria. Because by and large, what the Bible says is that righteousness exalts a nation. So whether we are talking of vote buying, fear, or whatever, you, the electorate, selling your votes. I have advised over and over that you just imagine that, okay, let's assume you get 10,000 naira for UC to sell at 10,000. Divide that 10,000 naira by 365 days, you further divide by 4 years, and ask yourself, what value are you getting from it? Because politicians will always tell us, even when we are not performing, the only legitimate power you have to remove us is through the ballot. Now the ballot is here. I believe that quite a number of the citizens in this country know what the basic amenities are, what they are entitled to. If they don't, then too bad. So let's begin to move in the direction of good governance in Nigeria, where people can have a sense of belonging, have decent living conditions, and be able to enjoy the little time God has granted man on this face of the earth, and partake in the national prosperity, and not wallow in poverty. So, and I say again that one of the major signs of poverty is vote selling. So when and I have also mentioned over and over that in an environment of poverty, crises are inevitable. But please remember that Esau sold his birthright and never got it back. So you think you can sell your, I pity you a lot, and God will even judge you for it. So why don't you go out there, vote your conscience?
Vote what you, for it. Talking about vote buying and talking about voting come to Osun's election on the 15th. Do you think all of this would give the governor some positive sentiment from the people to cast their vote for him?
I hope he has a very vibrant public relations team that can leverage on this. I've not been consulted otherwise. This is a very wonderful time to really engage the sentiments of the people in how you craft your message and reach out to the appropriate audience. But like I said, that is political PR, and leaders should learn to engage professionals when it comes to public relations. So,
okay, talking
the opportunities
about
are there.
Yes, also talking about, we've seen the governor come out to say that there will be no rigging in Osun State. Do you think he has foreseen that riggings might happen in this election?
I won't hold brief for politicians, but if people are saying elections are not rigged in Nigeria, I think I want to hold a debate on that. So they know themselves. So I keep saying that the party that has not been involved in rigging should come out to cast the first stone. When an adulteress was brought before Jesus by men who failed to bring the man that committed the adultery with the woman, Jesus asked them, which one of you is free of sin? Cast the first stone. And they all disappeared. And that takes us back to my strong point of advocacy as a patriot. I want good governance in Nigeria. You see, when we establish good governance, this desperation will disappear. And I have suggested some things. If, for instance, Jide Ologun is going to the Senate, and I realize that the salary I will earn is not even up to what I earn now as a private lawyer, then what am I going to do there? But in a situation where people sell their houses, go to banks to borrow money, in a situation where you have to pay between 50 million and 100 million to purchase nomination form and things like that, you cannot rule out the desperation, the rigging, the vote buying, the unfairness and the absence of transparency in our electoral processes. In fact, politicians find it difficult to really confirm that our elections are free, fair, and transparent in line with global standard. So those are the issues. It's now a matter of the most rugged takes it all.
Well, okay. The Osun is just a few days from today, and we hope the right thing is done. We hope there won't be vote buying. Thank you so much, Mr. Jide. But we're going to be looking at the APC Muslim ticket. It's been since 2023. So how has the Muslim ticket shaped the APC political fortunes since 2023? Because a lot of Nigerians were thinking that, because of the Buhaha in the campaign in 2023, Nigerians were saying, oh, we don't want a Muslim ticket. A lot of people thought that the president was going to drop the vice president in this 2027 elections. But we have seen that he has also chosen him as his running mate. How has this Muslim ticket shaped the APC political fortune?
There's what you call strategy. And strategy is a long-term plan for success. And I think the APC party would have considered all the options. It took a while before the president confirmed Shettima as his running mate. The likes of Dogara got interested, and some Christians within APC. But then, this threat was in the space towards 2023 election. That, we not vote this one and that. But APC won. So it's more political strategy than giving consideration to religious balance or gender or whatever balance you can call it. But again, let's go back to history, because sometimes we hit the nail on the table as if it's only that nail that is holding the table. No. If you go back to even how we set up our political structure in Nigeria, even before we gained the political independence in 1960, it's always been a mix of different politicians from different religions. Let me fast forward. The likes of Tafawa Balewa, Muslim, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Christian, Awolowo, Christian, all of them. And fast forward to the Second Republic. Alhaji Shehu Shagari was the president. Dr. Alex Ekweme was his vice
president. Yes.
So how did that profit Nigeria? You know, you fast forward again. I'll just pick some of them. When Obasanjo was the president, Atiku is a Muslim, Obasanjo is a Christian. In the season of Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan as president, Sambo Dasuki, a Muslim, was his vice president.
Yes.
So how far with Nigeria? When former President Buhari was the president,
we had a pastor.
Yeah, Osinbajo, even a pastor, was his vice president. So how has that profited Nigeria? And now we have Muslim ticket. And let me say this. We are just focusing on
hold on a minute, Mr. Jide. You have just been talking about profiting the Nigeria. Now we have a Muslim ticket. Do you think it has profited Nigeria better?
It's the question I'm asking. So it's a political thing. I started from the angle of strategy. The APC party would have looked at it that what's the big deal? They know how to mobilize their vote. And let me also land finally. I have compared those who were Christians and Muslims in combination. The freest election ever in Nigeria, the Hope 93 of MKO Abiola, it was Muslim ticket. You see? So, and nobody complained at that time. People came out. There was no consideration for religion or whatever. But eventually, that election was not allowed to benefit from oxygen. It was by the regime of General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, military head of state. You see, so for me, yes, it's a good balance to have the predominant religions in the country represented in that space, because the implication is that peradventure the president is incapacitated to serve, the vice president steps in. And one of the arguments that came out towards 2023 was that, dealing with insecurity in this land, the vice president was even mentioned by some as having bias. You know, so that is the fear we have. And it's also because we have not moved in the direction of good governance. And you permit me at this moment to go into the global environment. Check Brunei. Brunei is one of the wealthiest nations of the world. Brunei is managed by purely Islamic religion. In Brunei, subsidized housing, maximum welfare citizens, you know. And I even doubt if they pay for medical care in Brunei. You also pick Saudi Arabia, that is managed by Islam. There's prosperity there. America, managed by what you can consider leaders and some other countries. Even Morocco in Africa, you know, Saudi Arabia has the biggest economy in the Middle East. So when at all this, then you should come to the conclusion that is it really about religion? Because religion is the faith you choose to practice. But how does that touch governance? For instance, I've been asking, is anybody telling us that only are behind the oil theft in Nigeria and those who are stealing, illegally mining our gold, the lithium, and things like that? Even when you want to profile the insecurity, you may say that, okay, those who claim to be terrorizing Nigeria, they claim to be Islamic States of West Africa, but are they really Muslims? Those are questions, you know. So those are issues. I think us should be towards giving us good governance in Nigeria. And again, it's a challenge. If the Christians believe that this action is a disregard to the Christian faith, I challenge the Christians, to what extent are Christians engaging politics? And we can do a research on that. By the grace of God, I'm the coordinator of Directorate of Politics and Governance in the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Lagos Province 27. And I've been mobilizing people and to say, get involved in that space. If you look at internal workings of political parties, candidates will be produced at the primary level. And these are candidates that you vote for during the general elections. So what representation have you at that primary level, from the ward level all the way to the national level? And these are counsels that we give, because it's the people who will determine, they call the shots. And that's why when you monitor how politicians, they have that sense of authority. And at the end of the day, there's also a mechanism to manage voting and who people vote for. These are issues. And this has been tested. You recall the primaries that produced the president of the country. Christians were involved in that. What performance were put on the table by the Christians who were involved? So I challenge the Christian community that if we must, amplify our relevance, we need to be more involved in politics. And I can say that I see that rising up, and I want it amplified. This man said the biggest space, the room for improvement, So those who are eligible to go out and register as soon as the portals are open again.
At the portals because we talked about
yeah, those ones, they've been shut for now because the elections are fast approaching.
No, but we thought INEC said they've closed down.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Whenever. I'm just speaking generally right now. Join a political party of your choice. Become active in these political parties. Become relevant. And as much as candidates who show interest in politics can be sponsored, why not sponsor them? Gone are the days when politics was not monetized in Nigeria. Today we know the reality. So you may have the best of intentions, the best of anointing. You got to get involved. If you read Genesis chapter 41, Joseph became a prime minister and he deployed righteousness and glorified God. You talk about Daniel. Daniel was also in the template of a politician. So let's go beyond this perception that politics is dirty. If it's dirty, let's clean it up with the blood of Jesus and go in there and do what is right.
All right, thank you so much. But we have just talked about the religion aspect of this adoption of the Muslim ticket. Let's look at the regional balance and the electoral strategies.
Shechima is from Northeast, Borno State to be precise. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is from the Southwest. You see, so, and you can see those regions being held together as regions that will give massive votes. And talk of the Southeast and the South-South. APC also has representation when you talk about ministerial appointments, the Umahis of this world, and some of them, you talk of North Central, North West, and those areas. And I think those are the calculations that the politicians will sit down and look at. See, the politicians are mostly concerned about elections. So when they do their permutations and calculations, it's about how can we win the elections. And I think other parties also are doing the same. You can see the Kwankwanso, Peter Obi ticket. You can see that of Atiku and Amechi and others in that direction. So you need to identify I mean, I have played politics at the professional level, and one of the things we learned is that when elections are approaching, everyone cannot be your target audience. You need to go and find out those who are financially relevant and those who will actually vote, so that you save your energy to focus on those who can deliver for you. And that also applies and you can see the amendments that have been brought into the Electoral Act right now. And that is why we have the new provisions that the party register must be presented. And you see some parties coming out to say, this is the number of registered voters that we have and things, and that you cannot register in two parties. So those are the issues. And that's why I'm advising, let's get involved if you are interested. And what is politics, by the way? Politics is being interested in the affairs of your community and getting involved to give it the right direction. So if you are not involved, if somebody starts moving it in the wrong direction, what
you don't have the right to complain.
Do you have to complain?
Okay. Well, let's look at voting behavior. Okay, with this Muslim ticket, how significant is religious representation in Nigeria? Voting behavior. I mean, with the Muslim ticket, do you think majority of the Muslims in Nigeria would want to vote for the APC government because it's a Muslim ticket, and probably the Christians will like, oh no, we don't have a Christian as a vice president or the president, let's go vote for a party that has Christian as a vice president or president?
That may apply, but on this blanket scale, I think the considerations for voting has gone beyond religious sentiments. The security in the land is of interest. The economy is also of interest. And having said this, can we claim that Nigeria is a free space where people can vote freely and the votes will count? You know, look at all these things we are discussing. You compare the situation with that of the UK. Sometimes UK, we have elections, you won't even know an election has taken place there. When Germany had a last election, who knew? You know, just went like that. You know, but here, it's not like that. It's not like that at all. And like I said, even politicians will tell you that it's all about stomach infrastructure. You know, we've several slangs. Diboko Sebe, which vote for us and cook a pot of stew. How long will that pot of stew last? In this country, even during primaries, politicians have been arrested with huge sums of money. What happened to them? How many of them were arraigned? And that's why I challenged earlier that can any political party come out clearly before God and say, I have never breached any electoral regulation? Is it just vote buying, thuggery, manipulations, you know, by midnight, going to the collation center to, you know, throw down authority, involving the law enforcement agents, different kinds of interference. And I think the citizens are the ones on the receiving end. And the citizens should begin to mobilize to ensure that leaders are accountable to them. Because what Section 14 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999, as amended, says is that, you know, sovereignty belongs to the people from whom the government derives authority. And Section 14, subsection 2, states clearly that the security and the welfare of the citizens shall be the primary purpose of government. So politicking is just a channel to setting up a government structure. So the purpose of that government is what we should focus on. And I have mentioned today, I've mentioned Brunei, I've mentioned, I think, Singapore, Saudi Arabia. And you can go and check out Norway. You know, Norway, I keep saying it, has the largest sovereign wealth in the world, you know, about 2.2 trillion US dollars. And if you look at management of resources, which is one of the key roles of government, If you look at Section 16 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended, you compare with a nation like Saudi Arabia, where the state manages the oil resource through Aramco. But here in Nigeria, what has happened to our refineries? So those are the issues. And again, Brunei leverages on oil and gas, and we have this oil and gas in abundance in the country.
Very soon, Mr. Jide, we'll get to these countries very, very soon. Hopefully,
it's our desire. That's why we come out here to at least show those examples.
Yes. Let's look at the national unity. What are the implications for national unity in this Muslim ticket that the APC has put up again?
Do we really have a problem with unity in Nigeria? I doubt it.
We do.
You know, people just create that crisis for us, you know. And I can let you know, if you go to Agege Market in Lagos right now, you see all the tribes doing their businesses at their own level, you see. And amongst the politicians, all the tribes are represented in the Senate. There are 109 of them in the Senate. They're representing all parts of the country, collecting the salaries, getting the SUVs, enjoying all the privileges, you know, functioning in the committees. We have 360 in the House of Representatives. So, and I have said it, whether you talk of oil thieves, they are all there from all the tribes. I mean, if you investigate deeply, you talk of illegal mining. You see, so it's because we have not entered that space of good governance. Who wants to be debating? Donald Trump is from New York, but he's the American president. Is New York gaining anything outrageous? Former President Muhammadu Buhari is from Katsina State. Is Katsina State the richest state in Nigeria now? Katsina State is about the third poorest state in the country. Katsina State has one of the highest incidents of insecurity in the land. So that's, you see, I'm speaking from the angle of benefits. From the angle of benefits. You see, so talk of, when there is a reason to oppress, you come together and get united. So a class is oppressing the majority of the citizens. They are united in that. That is why some people were asking. When, you know, we spoke about the money voted for buying SUVs. So why didn't some political parties reject it then? That no, we are here for the masses, for the people of Nigeria. We are not going to read. They are there enjoying all these things now. You know, after all, look at what I predicted towards 2019 election. I said a time was coming where party loyalty will give way to personal loyalty. Did it not happen? You see, the Minister of Federal Capital Territory, and let me commend him, he's doing very well in infrastructural interventions in the Federal Capital Territory. True. You know, in PDP, and saying, I am loyal to the president in APC. Until now, he has not resigned from PDP. You see, so you need, for politicians, it's a matter of interest. Matter of interest. Where the interest is, they move in that direction.
But you just said the Federal Capital Minister is doing so well there, so his might not just be a matter of interest.
It's a matter of interest. Otherwise, you know, otherwise it's like saying that you will not support your wife. You go and be supporting someone else's wife. But you know, we know politicians. It's the way we are going, and it's coming. And you've seen it. You've seen politicians who insisted, no, this is my party, this is my party. But when the leeway is not there to get what they need, they move to other parties. You know, so that's what we are saying.
Okay. Let's move on. Let's quickly look at the opposition parties. Do you think the opposition parties will capitalize on this?
I hope so. And the opposition parties have been advised to see how they can further gravitate towards coming up with a strong opposition. And that takes me back to history. APC was given birth to in 2013 with splinter members from APGA, New PDP, ACN, CPC, and those people. And they formed a cohesive structure, and fortunately with strong leadership. And let me commend Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, one of the arrowheads of APC, who did not insist he must be the candidate. So strategically, and public relations helped them a lot then. They looked the person that could fit into the message, because the message was, oh, there's corruption in the land, we need a leader with integrity. And they came up with Buhari, who was presented as Mr. Integrity. So these are dynamics of politics. And you can see that later Asiwaju now had to come in after receiving several bashings within the same party. But he refused to jump boat to become the president.
Mr. Jide, I quickly want to find out from you before we round off all of this. What factors could make the party consider changing or retaining the ticket for 2027? Do you think there could be any factors that will make the party, you know, just before the election say, okay, we're dropping the vice president, we want to get a Christian vice president?
I think that aspect is closed with INEC. They should have submitted, August, is it August 18 or so? It's close by, that they would have submitted their candidates, and after that.
But August 18 is still far. Anything could happen. The president could. So, do you think there could be any factors that will make him change?
Maybe for some other parties, but for APC, I think it's a settled matter. And I think, again, parties need to really come up and be involved proactively. You know, new issues have been introduced, these digital registration and things like that. Rise up, pick it up like business, and then right now there are still some matters in court that may go as far as the Supreme Court if the parties don't jump out of court to resolve their matters. That may derail some of them. But by and large, right now, we have about 3 strong opposition parties that may be presented during the general elections. So it's now for them to go out there and do their field work very well. It's not time to be slothful, be diligent.
Okay. Mr. Jide, what should Nigerians watch as 2027 elections approaches? Let's round off with that.
Me, I'm watching for, I need good governance in this country. You know, I want majority of the citizens to enjoy the good of this land. You know, if you read the Bible right from Genesis 1:28, God said, you know, the Bible says God blessed man. He said, be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth, have dominion over the air, over the sea, over every creeping thing that walks, upon the land. So that is aviation, marine, earth business, and everything. So God intends that man should enjoy the good of the land, and that is what we stand for. It's not his intention that a few should enjoy. And like I said, in Section 16 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended, the Constitution says clearly that the economy should be managed in a way that wealth and the means of creating wealth is not concentrated in the hands of a few. You see, the maximum happiness, maximum welfare is provided for all citizens. And in subsection 2D, it says that affordable and available housing, affordable and available food, you know, unemployment benefits, care for the old, reasonable living, minimum national wage, you know, all those things.
Okay, Mr. Jide,
are provided for all citizens.
Because of our time, one word for Osun State election is just in a few days' time, and it is seen as a testing ground for INEC. So one word for INEC and the voters in Osun State.
For INEC, recall that only God that won't leave office. One day you will leave office, so don't let your conscience be compromised. And I have the same for the electorate. Don't sell your birthright. A wise man said, in life, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate. And that is true of any society. And with this, your vote, you can vote those you believe that will make lives meaningful for you and sustain your future and not mortgage your future.
Thank you
God
so
has
much.
blessed Nigeria already, but we need the machinery to make the blessings manifest widely.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Jide, for that advice. And thank you for always finding time to come discuss the issues happening in Nigeria. As the elections are coming closer, we hope to be having you in the studio often to continue the discussion.
Thank you.
And to our viewers out there, Mr. Jide has just advised us, especially to the Osun state elections coming very close by. To the INEC, he has given a wonderful advice, and to the voters, don't sell your votes. Go out there and cast your votes. Cast the person you want to govern you in Osun State. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Patricia Oremo Gabriels.
The Ugewe is the final ceremony of the series of festivals. It is one of peace and lightheartedness, following the more solemn of the ritual year. Ugewe is the festival of the Ewe leaves, a symbol of good luck and joy. It is the most popular of all that heralds the dawn of a Benin New Year, new vow, newness of life and freshness of life, and a new hope for the future. In the evening, the Ewe leaves are presented to the Oba of Benin in grand style in a colorful ceremony. The Ihogbe Society, amidst singing and dancing, bring the sacred leaves that symbolize good luck, blessings, peace, and prosperity. Each of the senior members of the Ihogbe proceeds to give the sacred leaves directly to the Oba of Benin, and others put theirs at his feet. Lovely morning to you, and thanks for joining us on ITV News for this time. I am Harry Igboje. The Osun State government has commenced legal action against the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, following the freezing of its bank accounts. The Osun State government also described the EFCC move as unlawful and capable of disrupting government operations. The State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Oluwole Jimi-Bada, announced on Wednesday that Governor Ademola Adeleke had directed him to institute proceedings before the Federal High Court to challenge the anti-graft agency's action. Jimi-Bada disclosed that the state government received information that the EFCC had issued a post-no debit directive to First Bank, where several government accounts are maintained, effectively restricting transactions on the accounts. He maintained that although the EFCC possesses the authority to investigate financial transactions, it does not have the power to freeze a state government's account without first obtaining a court order. According to the Attorney General, the restriction on the accounts could significantly affect the day-to-day administration of government and the delivery of public services across the state. The Kwara State government on Wednesday announced that victims abducted during the February 3rd, 2026 attack on Woro and Nuku communities in Kayama local government area had regained their freedom. The development was announced on Wednesday in a post on the official Facebook page of the Kwara State government months after 176 victims were abducted.
The victims were kidnapped when suspected Boko Haram-linked extremists invaded the rural communities of Woro and Nuku on motorcycles, launching a coordinated assault that reportedly lasted several hours. The attack, regarded as one of the deadliest in Kwara State's history, reportedly claimed more than 200 lives, left several others injured, destroyed homes and businesses, and forced many residents to flee. Local vigilantes who attempted to repel the attacks were reportedly overwhelmed, with some allegedly trapped and burnt inside their office. Further details of the circumstances surrounding the victims' release were not immediately available as of the time of filing this report. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has declared that commercial tricycles, popularly known as Keke Napep, and motorcycles Okada, will be permitted to operate within the Abuja city center, citing growing security concerns. Wike disclosed that he had already signed the necessary approval following a recent FCT Security Council meeting, where members resolved that stricter measures are needed to address the situation. FCT correspondent Joy Goche Ehaikena has details.
Speaking during his monthly media chat in Abuja, Wike says the activities of commercial tricycle and motorcycle operators is not only a public nuisance, but also a serious security threat to residents of the nation's capital. The minister says security agencies have been directed to identify and designate areas where Keke Napep and Okada operations will be prohibited.
For issue of security, it has become a threat from our security reports. So they don't act without using motorcycles. So it's the problem. And so I've told the secretary to map out areas where we do not need the Keke Napep and the motorcycle. But it will be difficult for you to ban them in the entire Abuja. Particularly, it is necessary within the city not to allow Keke Napep and the Okada. So they are working that out. It just been applied for to release some logistics. Even the destitute beggars all over the places. And each time we take them out, they communicate.
Wike maintains that the FCT administration will continue to implement policies aimed at improving security, orderliness, and the overall image of the nation's capital. From Abuja, Joy Igoche Ehaikena, ITV News.
The defense has closed its case in the trial of 4 men accused of involvement in the alleged kidnapping at the vegetable market along Airport Road, Benin City on June 14, 2026. The defendants Marvelous Isaac, Wisdom Michael, Rufus Emeta Michael, and Gift Raphael are standing trial before the Special Criminal Court on an 11-count charge bordering on alleged kidnapping, cultism, armed robbery, and unlawful possession of firearms. The Special Criminal Court was established by the Chief Judge of Edo State, Justice Daniel Okungbowa, following a directive by Governor Senator Monday Okpebholo to ensure the speedy prosecution of kidnapping and cult-related offences in the state. Patience Usaragiwa was there.
At the resumed hearing before Justice Terry Momodu Aigbona at the Federal High Court premises on Saple Road, Benin City, the second and third defendants, Wisdom Michael and Rufus Emete Michael, adopted their sworn statements through their counsel, Barrister Amechi Nwozo. During cross-examination, the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Professor Roland Otaru, SAN, who is leading the prosecution, confronted the defendants with several exhibits relating to the alleged offences. However, both defendants denied the allegations and the exhibits tendered against them. Counsel to the fourth defendants, Barrister Phyllis Emaswen, requested additional time to adequately prepare his client's defense. The application was granted by the court. Following the announcement by the defense that the hearing in the case has been closed for the first, second, and third defendants, Justice Terry Momodu Aigbona adjourned the matter to August 7, 2026 for continuation. Counsels to the prosecution and defense speak.
We are going on very well with the trial. We called several witnesses. They are now calling the defendants to give their evidence. And so the trial is going on very well. And I also have to commend the Edo State Judiciary for the proactive step taken in ensuring that these cases are heard expeditiously.
We have closed our case for the day. It's now for the third defendant to open her case. And hopefully, after the third defendant has opened her case, we'll come back to file our final written address and adopt our final written address.
We are ministers in the Temple of Justice. Everybody must be given an opportunity to be heard
and to defend her position.
It is the expectations of members of the public that there will be a quick dispensation of justice in this case. From the High Court premises here in Benin City, I am Patience Osaugiwa, ITV News.
And still on the AM News, the Esama of Benin and Honorary Romanian Consul to Edo and Delta States, His Excellency Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Osawa Igbenedi on Wednesday added another feather to his tall list of honors as the League of Edo State Women Lawyers conferred on him the Grand Patron of the body in the recognition of his outstanding contributions to the development of the legal profession. Pius Osawa reports that the League, under the leadership of Mrs. Bridget Imweti-Nyaosa Igudala Esquire, presented the award during a courtesy visit to the Esama of Benin at his Okada country home residence. The visit also provided an opportunity to formally introduce its newly inaugurated executives to the patriarch of the House of Igbenedion.
Leader of the Forum of Women Lawyers, Benin Branch, Mrs. Bridget Imotiyan Igbodola Esquire, said the Esama's philanthropy and contributions to the development of society is equal to none. She said the women lawyers are glad to be associated with him and prayed for continued good health, wisdom, and many more years of impactful service to humanity.
We have always wanted to come and see you, Daddy, because we know that you are a great man, a great pillar in Edo State. And we have seen all your good works. You take everybody as your children.
The delegation also extended warm goodwill messages ahead of the Esama's forthcoming birthday celebration in September. A highlight of the visit was the presentation of a beautifully crafted portrait of the Esama as a symbol of the forum's admiration and appreciation for his enduring legacies.
You are a father of inestimable value. Daddy will love you. Daddy will love you.
Responding, the Patriarch of the House of Igbenedion and Esama of Benin, Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Osawa Igbenedion, expressed heartfelt appreciation to the women lawyers for the honor and thoughtful visit. He commended the forum for its commitment to promoting excellence, leadership, and service within the legal profession, while encouraging members to remain steadfast in the pursuit of justice and nation building. The Esama of Benin warmly hosted the august visitors to a lavish reception which reflected the House of Igbenedion's renowned hospitality. Pius Nsogo, ITV News.
And that does it on ITV News for this time. Thanks so much for watching. I am Harry Igboje. TMI Socials is next. Please stay tuned.
Benin Cultural Dance, a unique dance and quality dance steps of the Benin people. This dance is a vibrant mix of traditions, arts and beliefs, deeply rooted in the country's diverse ethnic groups and their rich history. The dance has artistic expressions depicting the people's history. Benin people have been famous for bronze and brass.
Good morning. This is TMI Socials. I am Nuluwapo Stevens. Or better still, call me a social media butterfly. And I'll tell you what, our video of today is a video trending on the space of social media where the General Overseer of Living Faith Church, Bishop David Oyedepo, slammed the president over the situation regarding insecurity in Nigeria. Take a look.
Against your household, against your generation, in the name of Jesus. The bubble is burst. You mean they kill people every day? And government is pretending not to know what to do? I've kept quiet. When you see God keep quiet at wickedness, it's because the bubble is about to burst. Yes. He said, I've long time held my peace, God said. But now I will rise like a wounded lion, and I will devour at once. Please listen to this. Take it down. When you see God keep quiet at the wickedness of the wicked, it's because the bubble is about to burst. As the Lord lives, whose I am, I'm myself. This.
Well, away from that, hashtag Osun State currently trending, hashtag EFCC trending on the street of social media, as the EFCC has finally admitted to freezing the account of Osun State government. Now, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has confirmed freezing the bank account of Osun State government, saying the action was taken to stop what it described as suspicious movement of public funds, barely 10 days before the August 15th governorship election. Now let's take a look at the moment Osun State Governor Adeleke actually told the public regarding what is going on currently. Take a look.
This morning, we received a letter from our banker forwarding a letter from the EFCC instructing the bank to freeze Osun State government account. This action was taken without any court order. We are supposed to be in democracy, where the rule of law must always prevail. We will therefore not accept any situation where we have federal agencies trample on the constitutional right.
Now, Davido, of course, you know David Adeleke was also there present at the press conference, and here is what he had to say regarding the Osun governorship election come August 15th.
We're all here for one reason. It's for the executive governor of Osun State, the only chief security officer of Osun State. One of the best, if not the best governor to ever have ruled this state. We have our projects to show for it. We have our integrity to show for it. And we have our diligence to show for it. But I did feel it was very important for, us as the youth campaign mobilization team, to assure our people, our own demographic, which is the youths, of our views on the forthcoming election.
Oh, well, the 30 BG gang was definitely present at that particular place. Now, taking to the street of social media, let's see what you have been saying regarding this whole situation. We'll start off with this user who wrote on X, hearing EFCC has frozen the account of the Osun State government. Just 10 days to the state governorship election. We will all eventually wake up by fire or by force. Another user on X reacting, well, Rufai says, all is fair in politics. freezing a state government account before elections. What is going on? Now, still on the story, this user reacting wrote, he should use his money, not state money, to buy votes. So you people need to wise up. Well, it's a good thing the Osun state government has headed to court already. We'll see how things eventually pan out regarding that story. Away from that, hashtag the president of the Arewa Youth has declared that the Labour Party presidential candidate for the 2023 general election should not expect support from the northern Nigeria in the 2027 presidential election, insisting that no northern state would vote for him. Well, speaking in an interview on News Century TV, the Arewa Youth president said Obi neither consulted nor reached any agreement with the group before indicting interest or indicating interest in the 2027 race. Let's take a look at that moment.
Peter Obi should count northern Nigeria out of his campaign zone. No single state in northern Nigeria will vote Peter Obi for 2027 presidential election. The reason is this: Peter Obi did not consult us before coming out to campaign or coming out to contest for president in 2027. And Peter Obi did not inform us about his presidential campaign for 2027. So you can never be president in Nigeria without the support of northern Nigeria.
Well, the political season is heating up already. Whilst those are asking, who are you to be consulted? Like, what's your position in the country? Anyway, let's have all the reactions on this particular interesting video. This user wrote on X, who be the people where una say them suppose consult, make una use una sense and move una region forward. Development no be enemy. Instead of embracing progress, some people would rather hold their own people back and keep them in poverty and underdevelopment. Away from this interesting report, let's see another reaction if we can. Now, this user wrote, I hate the fact that we all have free will to talk in this country. Imagine what is coming out from a youth claiming to be intelligent. Well, still on the story, this user says, now let's see another reaction. This one wrote, oh my God, just imagine the reasons he gave. Competence is not even listed. It's all about consultation and who supported the former President Muhammadu Buhari to the country in 2015. If this stark illiterate is the president of Arewa Youth, you can understand what the future holds for an average northern youth. Now, away from that, well, still on what's trending currently on social media, the Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, is trending as he has defended the federal government borrowing spree, saying the reason they are borrowing actually is because the funds are being used to construct critical road infrastructure aimed at addressing hunger, insecurity, and economic challenges across their country. There you have it. Let's take a listen to him.
When people talk about hunger, we are using this road to fight the hunger we met on ground. When people talk about insecurity, Your Excellency, you know that before this Abuja Kaduna started, there were a lot of insecurity. There were a lot of kidnapping. Today, since the president started this route, no one has been kidnapped on this corridor. No one has been kidnapped. So we are using this road infrastructure that the president is doing to fight the hunger we met on ground, to fight the injustice. In some of the states, before we came on board, there was no federal project going on. You know, Plateau is one of them. Gombe is one of them. Ebonyi is one of them. Kaduna could say to have been one of them because nothing really happened unless it is Aswaji. So we thank you very much. When a road is built, it is a catalyst. That is.
Please make it make sense how road infrastructure, you get to construct road, gets to solve the hunger problem in the country. That's what a lot of netizens are asking on social media. Now, this user wrote on X, we start off with this one who says, let's see what you're saying. Well, Joy wrote, he's actually talking about local jobs. The road construction works is given to the indigenous people around. He is being quoted out of context. Okay, let's get all the reactions on the story. This user reacted reacting wrote, Omo indirectly, na stone them they tell Una to the chopper. How does that even make any sense? Now, Vicky says that one on X. Now, finally, this user reacting wrote, explain to me, like I'm 5, how they are using roads to fight the hunger they created. Now, moving away from that, we move over to another interesting story, but this time around, it's actually a face-off between Channels TV Sheung during his show Politics Today, where he had Senator Kalu and they had a clash on air. Take a look.
Of your major senator,
no, you can't say
the second most important role of a lawmaker is oversight. But you were a principal officer.
No, being a principal officer.
You were a major stakeholder in the APC government at the time. But you watched on as the economy was driven down the drain. They were printing money. You agree they printed money or not?
Go and get the footnotes.
Do you agree they were printing money?
No, they printed money and we cautioned them.
But you still allowed it go.
The governor of Central Bank there is alive.
But do you realize, are you able to apologize to Nigeria that your party failed Nigerians? It's your party, isn't it?
And so what?
Nigerians are suffering today, Senator. Is that fair?
No, you can't call people here to harass them. You don't harass
I'm not harassing you,
No,
Senator.
you are not.
I'm just holding you accountable.
This is not
You're a member of government.
Why are you harassing me, Shira? That's the question there. Now, let's see how you took this online. With this user reacting saying, unprofessional and crude. If this trend continues, it will become a normal thing for serious people to begin shunning TV interviews in Nigeria. Jide Babalola on X. Another user reacts in real. Let's have one more reaction. The movement or the moment you remind official APC that the previous government that ruined the economy is still the same government they brought, they start acting as if you are speaking a foreign language. Tell me about it. Now, finally, on TMI socials this morning, former president of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, actually stunned guests at a book launch on Friday, July 31st, when he jumped off the podium. Take a look.
Some people lost some bread, someone nearly died, someone just died. Police they come, army they come, confusion everywhere. 7 minutes later, all don't cool down, brother. Police don't go away, army don't disarm. Everybody run. Everybody scatter. Some people.
Well, strong, energetic. I think it's above 80 already. A lot of persons are actually questioning his strength and energy. Anyway, that's how we wrap up TMI Socials this morning. Thank you so much for being part of the show. I am Anuoluwapo Stevens. From all of us on This Morning on ITV. We'll see you again next week. Have a great day ahead.
This is ITV.
Certainly the best.
The threat of global warming is real. You have seen the destruction of lives and property as a result of incessant flooding. Make the environment a conducive place for all to live in. Stop polluting the environment. Protect the environment today. This message is brought to you courtesy Independent Television and Radio. days, there comes the Ugemobo Festival, which the Oba celebrates outside the palace gate. A pavilion is built of red cloth where rites are performed to drive away all evil spirits still unsatisfied by the year's sacrifices. The Emobo Festival is to commemorate an event in Benin history which dates back to 1504 AD.
ITV, certainly the best.
This is ITV.
Certainly the best.
Good afternoon to all our viewers and listeners at home today, and welcome to another exciting edition of Itches and Voices. Itches and Voices is brought to you by NABVID, Network for the Advancement of People with Visible Disabilities, here in Edo State. We advocate for persons with disabilities, their rights, and everything that pertains to people and persons with disabilities. I am your host for today, and my name is Rebecca Mamedu. And for inclusion, which is something we always preach, we have our sign language interpreter, Cynthia Godwin Aya, to do justice to our hearing impaired community. Thank you very much, Ms. Cynthia. And before we dive right into the conversation and introduce our guest, we'd like to say this week has been one of celebration for the disability community, because our very own, the director of NABVID, was newly appointed as a permanent secretary in the Edo State Civil Service. This is a huge one for the disability community and one for the history books, because this is the first time a person with disability is appointed as a permanent secretary, and this is happening in no other time than under the administration of His Excellency Senator Monday Okpebholo. For now, I would like you to watch a short clip from his speech to see how it went.
In the same vein, Your Excellency, you have appointed today Melody Ismail Omosa, a visually impaired lawyer in the Edo as the permanent secretary of the This is first of its kind in the history of the Bengal State. It is for the entire disability community and the constituency. You have shown that competence will always speak, and that you run an open policy of inclusion for which the disability community in Edo State will remain entirely grateful, eternally grateful. Long live the executive governor of Edo State, long live Edo State, long live the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Welcome back. That was a very beautiful speech, if I should say that myself. Even His Excellency gave him a standing ovation. That was a very beautiful one, and it was on the lips on every single person that attended the swearing-in ceremony that day. So let's dive straight up into our conversation. During our last edition, we started a series where we talked about electoral inclusion, particularly about the current registration of PVCs for persons with disabilities. And during our last edition, we brought an INEC official who is in charge of persons with disabilities and other groups. His name was Emmanuel Dedekuma, and today we have another amazing guest to help us do justice to the conversation, and he is no other than Comrade Bartholomew Okodo. Well done, sir. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So, sir, we're going to dive right into the conversation. Sir, you're a very well-known personality in the disability community, but we believe that there might still be some of our audience who do not know you. So, please, sir, can you quickly introduce yourself to us and also tell us what role do you play in ensuring electoral participation?
Thank you very much. My name is Comrade Dr. Bartholomew Okodo. First, I am the President, Conference of Non-Governmental Organization, CONGOS. Secondly, I am the Assistant Secretary, Joint National Association of Persons with Disability, Edo State Chapter, the Secretary, National Association of Persons with Physical Disability, Edo State Chapter. Before I begin to dwell on your question, let me congratulate our able Permanent Secretary, Barrister Melody Omasa, on his appointment as Permanent Secretary, the Edo State Civil Service Commission. Melody has already proven that persons with disability has capacity.
Yes.
They can lead, they can govern, they can do anything when given the enabling environment to do that, and he has just proven that. So I want to congratulate him and also commend His Excellency, very distinguished Senator Monday Okpebholo, for showing to the world that persons with disability can perform. But there are a lot of persons he would have appointed Permanent Secretary, but he chose to appoint somebody with disability. So we commend him, and it's happening the first time in the history of Edo State Civil Service under his leadership. So we want to commend him, and we want to urge our new Permanent Secretary to keep the flag flying, to continue to make us proud. So congratulate him. Coming to the question of
what role you play.
Yes, the role that we play. We have been playing that role. We have been ensuring that over the years, since 1999, when democracy started, we have been ensuring that election is free and fair and transparent. We have always been interested in the process of the election, not the result. And when the election is free, fair, credible, and transparent, the voice of the people will count. The vote of the people will matter, and that we have ensured. And the result of such engagement, election observation, engagement with electoral policy stakeholders has improved the electoral system. You know that in 1999 we started with manual voting.
Yes.
Manual voting that excluded persons with disability. Today we are now doing electronic voting or digital voting, where persons with disability to a large extent included in the electoral process.
Wow, thank you very much, sir. So you mentioned something about how you're more focused on the process than sometimes even the result.
Yeah.
So, sir, from your experience over the years, how would you say that the electoral process is for persons with disability? How involved is it for persons living with disabilities, rather?
At the beginning, it was not persons with disability were to a very large extent excluded from participating in the voting process. But as civil society, religious leaders, traditional rulers begin to advocate for inclusion of persons with disability, there was and there is a drastic improvement in that area. If you go to, though we still have a long way to go, but as at the moment, if you go to when election is taking place, discover that there's inclusion. As soon as the electoral officer or even the security agent, even the party agent, when they cite persons with disability, they give them that priority to vote. They no longer push them on the queue. They, oh, Madam Oga, come and vote. And they are allowed to vote candidate of their choice. And if it is those that cannot, that need assistance, they are allowed to the use of assistance of their choice. And also in some voting area, you see assistive equipment being provided for persons with disability. There are times where we measure, monitor, observe election. The voting materials is placed on an elevation. But when they see persons with disability, they will lower it. So those with physical disability, they will lower it so that the person will be able to cast his or her vote. So it has to a large extent be very, very inclusive.
Wow, thank you, sir. So we had an INEC official come in during our last edition, still on this same topic, and he made mention of how since this voters card PVC registration started, which is ending today, and most of us are still pleading for another extension, he made mention of how a little over 30 persons with disabilities have come to register for their PVC, a little over 30 people. And I think that is a very low bench and a very low mark. So, Sam, what would you have to say about that? What do you think is the reason why we are not having as much persons with disability come register for their PVC?
Yes, the reason is that the awareness for persons with disability to come and vote seamless is still very low. So people still look at, if I go there, go vote now, I may not be able to vote. The stress, they still look at all those negative factors. That is why we still need to do more advocacy to traditional rulers, advocacy to parents, advocacy to school, even higher institution, to urge persons with ability to come out and register and be able to cast their vote. The figure you just mentioned now, I do not have fact for that yet until they release the result to say actually across the state 30 persons came out to register. If that figure is correct, it's also an improvement.
Wow. So does that mean it was way lower than that before?
It was way lower than that. So
wow.
To a large extent, it's also an improvement in the process. And we also pray and we urge that those 30 persons that have come out to register should follow it up by going to collect their PVC at the appropriate time. And you know, these 30 persons, they are spread, they are not in one ward. They are spread across the state. So we want to urge them that they should go collect their PVC and come out and cast their vote. It is only when you don't know the efficacy of any law until it is tested. It is only when persons with disability come out to vote that you now say, yes, this was an impediment, this was successful. So when they come out to vote, we observe areas of impediment that needs improvement. We observe areas of success, and then we begin to advocate on those areas that needs improvement.
Yes, so this thing you mentioned now is very true, because like a part of the Edo State disability law states that persons with disabilities should be offered, I will have to use the word preference when it comes to queue. They should be allowed to maybe move to the front. And exactly what you said, if people do not go out to vote, they would not know if this law is being implemented or not. So let's go back to another thing you mentioned about creating awareness. How do you think awareness should be created? Because now you made mention of how the number was a bit lower than 30 before, but now it has at least gotten to 30, which is not so high, but is somewhere better than before. So what other kind of awareness do you think should be made to further encourage persons with disability to come out to get their PVC registered?
It's going to be when the time comes, it's going to be intensive advocacy. We'll still have to talk to the communities, the community health. We use also talk to the media to create enough awareness so that these persons will go and collect their PVC. It's going to be intensive campaign. It's not going to be, we don't know them. If we know them, these 30 persons now, we just send persons to their various places, go and collect your PVC. We don't know them. So it's going to still going to be serious advocacy, serious campaign, not just for them to go and collect their PVC, but should also come out on the day of election and cast their their vote.
Sir. Because it's way beyond just registering for your PVC. If you register for it and you do not vote, there is no...
So go and collect it, propose it for use in the bank. For you for identification. No. That error should stop. Collect your PVC, go and cast your vote. Some say vote will not count. It will count. Because if vote will not count, people will not be spending their money to campaign. If you believe the power of equipment will affect the equipment, they are campaigning.
True.
They are campaigning. So if they are campaigning, it means they need the vote. It doesn't matter how they are campaigning. Whether they are using Mama Kara process, anyway, but they are campaigning. In the last governorship election, even if it was a local government election controlled by those state government, we still see them campaigning. That shows that the vote will count because they need the vote.
Yes.
If they are campaigning, even if they are power of equipment, they are still campaigning. It means the vote will count. So your responsibility is to go out and cast your vote. Let those who are in charge of making the vote to count do their job. But if you don't vote, how do we go about say your vote will count or not? Yes. So you must come out and cast your vote. And we're going to do a very intensive advocacy, very intensive campaign on the need for persons with disability and every other citizen to come out and cast their vote. First, your responsibility, cast your vote.
Yes, sir. And I feel like if someone that doesn't cast their vote doesn't have any right to complain about Nigeria not working, because if you do not vote, then how are you expecting the vote in Nigeria to come?
If you do not vote on election day, you have no moral justification to complain about bad governance. But who did you vote?
Yes.
Those that voted for bad governance. You go out, vote for the party, for the candidate of your choice. It is only when you have voted you can now say, yes, I voted, this is not happening. When you didn't vote, the issue is that we talk about democracy. You can only exercise your power as a citizen on that day of election. Immediately after that day, your power, you have seconded it to another person. You have told that person, your rep, your senator, your House of Assembly member, you have told them, go exercise this power on my behalf. You no longer have a say in the government, but you have given them that power. Say, go exercise this power on my behalf. So to be able to allow people to exercise that power on your behalf, you must go and vote for them. So it's a matter of collecting your PVC or registering for the purpose of taking it to bank, but for the purpose of actually voting.
Wow, that is very profound. And so let's move to a little into the process itself. So sir, what are some challenges you think persons with disabilities still face when it comes to either registering for their PVC or voting itself? What are some of the challenges you think persons with disabilities still face?
Yes.
This is also a form of us raising awareness about it.
Yes, the enabling environment is still very not friendly.
No.
The enabling environment for persons with disability to vote is still not
so what do you mean by enabling?
Yes, the environment entirely.
Okay.
For instance, if you see in the last local government election where I observed the election in a local government Ward 2, precisely Anti-Maria Police Center, a person with disability came to vote.
Wow.
He came to vote, though he was allowed to vote, but he came a bit late. He came a bit late. So even when they asked him come and vote, he found it very difficult to get to the polling point, to the voting point, because of the large crowd. So he found it very difficult to get there. And even when he was trying to go, some people were still preventing him. They said, no, now we first come. They were still trying to prevent him. So that awareness is still not enough for them to give unhindered access to persons with disability. Now, there are cases, if you are going, some of us, even including myself, cannot walk to the polling unit because of the nature of the field. Some are slippery. So one needs to be very careful in order for you not to. Yes, so the environment, they still need to improve on the environment. Even some of the electoral officer, the presiding officer, the electoral, they are not aware. So there are times there will be argument for them to put down the polling, the voting point for people to be able to vote. It will at times lead to an argument. I was supposed to put it down, but at the end they will put it down. But if they are fully aware, during the time of training, they were told this thing, they will not be arguing. So when they are training, the training should also be inclusive. The curriculum should be inclusive, so that it will also include persons with disability. It should be an all-inclusive training. And also they should also give opportunity for persons with disability to be presiding officer.
Wow.
To be presiding officer, to be local government returning officer, to be even be state returning officer. So they don't have a permanent secretary.
Yes,
as persons with disability. Before I became a permanent secretary, was he picked from the forest? Has he not been functioning as director? They should also make at least somebody with disability a returning officer, a state returning officer. We'll be proud if in the next governorship election, in 36 states, we have at least 3 persons with disability as state returning officer to announce the next governor. This will make the process all inclusive. For instance, if in the last local government election, where we have about 80 returning officer, we have some persons with disability, it will make it inclusive.
Yes. And I think I agree with that, because if a person with disability sees that the returning officer is a person with disability, it will make him feel more included and want to actually go and vote. Because I think one of the reasons why some persons with disability might not go out, because they might think about the discrimination, the people there might not understand, and it might further want to make them stay back and not participate. But exactly what you said, having maybe a returning officer who is a person with disability will help the community feel more included. So I really appreciate that. So I'm going to, so what are some of the things that you think are currently working? Because I feel like when we just talk about the things that are not working, it makes people stay back more. But when we talk about the things that are also working, so people know that this is some of the reasons why you need to come, because some of these things are working, I think it will encourage more people, more persons with disabilities to participate. So what would you say is something that is, or a few things that is currently working with INEC when it comes to registration and during election?
Yes, we are, at this point we commend the INEC and all stakeholders, including NAVIB, for being able to work this process. A lot of things are now working for persons with disability. For instance, if you get to the polling voting center, by the time they say person with disability, on their own, they will say go and vote. Even if the crowd will be much, but they will allow them vote. Not only in voting point, even at the bank, and some other places, they give preference to persons with disability. And through NAVIB, some time ago, some assisted people were trained on inclusion, and some assisted devices were presented to INEC. And when you go to some polling unit, you see these things. INEC will provide this assistive device for persons with disability to use in the electoral process. We see these things. I also commend political parties. Political parties, they provide chairs. So when they see persons with disability, they will give chair to the person. It has happened to me severally. When they see me coming, they will give me chair to sit down. Even when they know I'm there to observe the election, possibly vote, they will give me chair. So some of these things they are working. And when the re-annex staff are there, they don't allow persons with disability to waste their time in the voting process. As soon as they see them, they allow them to go and cast their vote. And INEC have a disaggregated record of persons with disability. The very unit where they are, INEC has them. So to a large extent, INEC will make that particular unit favorable for persons with disability to vote. And in most of their dealings, they include persons with disability. When we attend their stakeholders meeting, very soon it will start all over again. They make deliberate effort to ensure that persons with disability are invited to that stakeholders meeting, so to also give their view on what will make the election seamless. So we commend INEC for that, and we also commend stakeholders who, when you advocate for persons with disability, they join you in that advocacy.
Yes, thank you, sir. So this is us commending INEC for the job that they are doing and the things that they are doing very well, while still saying that there is so much more to be done. But yes, we commend them for what they are doing currently. So sir, since we are also educating the public, so sir, for persons who have already registered for their PVC, if they want to go get their card, how do they get it? Do they go back to the place where they registered, or how do they go about it?
That would depend on the INEC.
Okay.
I remember in the last PVC collection, in the first instance, everybody go to your ward, the headquarters of your ward, to go and collect your PVC. Every particular ward has the headquarters, so the PVCs were available in the headquarters. So when you go there, you pick it up at the ward headquarters. After a given period, that when those have elapsed, they will ask you to go to your local government headquarters. For instance, while they were doing that, because I did a transfer from Oredo to Igwebe, so the people were collecting it at the ward level. I could not go to Igwebe, but when they were collecting it at the local government level, I went there. I was able to pick up my own.
Okay. But so will there be like an announcement? Like how will people know it's time?
And I do a lot of just the way they did publicity on the just about to be concluded voter registration. The same way they do publicity, and the same way we also do advocacy. We go to radio, television, community to tell people to go and collect their PVC. So that's the same publicity that follows this CVRO. The same publicity also follows the collection of PVC.
Oh wow, that is amazing. So sir, lastly, before we round up, running out of time, so sir, what is a word or something you would say to persons with disability? Like, we want you to say something to persons with disability to encourage them to vote. So sir, is there any message you'd like
to? I want to appeal to persons with disability to deliberately, not just go and vote, participate in partisan politics. Not just going to go there and vote for the sake of voting. I want to say that I've read the constitution of some political party, at least 2 or 3, make provision that for persons with disability to be included in the executive council, or what they call ESCO, from ward level to national level. So these positions are not filled from ward level. It therefore means if Edo State has 192 ward, there should be 192 persons with disability in each of the ESCO of those political parties.
Wow.
There should be 18 persons in each of the ESCO of any of those parties, the 18 local government. Then there should be 1 at the state level, persons with disability. So we should, as persons with disability, make effort to participate in partisan policy, to have a say in what is happening, in the electoral process, to even come out and run for election. But the Sabelody have opened the way to say these things are possible. We want to see persons with disability contesting for House of Assembly, contesting for Senate, House of Rep, and just as they are talking about reserved seat for women, there should also be a reserved seat for persons with disability, because we have vulnerables. Not only the women, there should also be a reserved seat for persons with disability. That this particular seat, maybe 2 in Edo State, only persons with disability will contest it. There should be such thing. So that is what I'm praying for.
Wow, thank you very much, sir. It has been an exciting time in the studio today. Thank you very much for joining us. Like he has already said, everybody needs to participate. Every person with disability needs